So I saw a couple of you took notice of the off-brand Bernie's Mountain Dog Lego set that I have.
That looks fiddly.
So my dad, I think my mom and my dad got it for me for Christmas, and I'm finally now getting around to it. And they had to special order it. I don't remember the company, but
it sounds Eastern European
or something.
Yeah,
but my excitement immediately went to despair when I turned the box upside down and a screwdriver fell out, and along with 2,500 plastic screws.
They are
tiny.
small, too.
They are.
Yes.
I thought they were sprinkles.
Yeah.
I also thought they were sprinkles.
We should put them on ice cream later.
It'd be an interesting night. And go with our drink of the evening.
We got lots of plastic in us already, you know. We
It's
might
true.
as well add some more.
These are actually microplastics.
Oh, no, these are macroplastics.
But I had the thought where I was like, I finished the 4 legs. I haven't gotten to the body. Every single piece has to get screwed in. Every single one.
Jesus.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Do you love this or hate it?
No, it has become incredibly tedious.
I told we were talking about this before, and Liz mentioned a video. There's a great video online on why Legos are so expensive,
Yeah.
and it's because I said this before, but their tolerances are like so high. They're higher than some like
You said
like medical equipment or like
Yeah, that's
weapons
why it hurts when you
manufacturers.
step on them.
Yeah.
seal of quality.
They have to all be within like fractions of a millimeter of tolerance, and they all have to click with Legos made from their inception to now.
Yeah.
Damn. So my question is, before we start, is that when I go to continue this kit, if I just stop putting the screws in them,
It'll fall apart.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think so.
It has a lot. It looks like it has enough stability. What if all right, the legs are bolted, but the body and the head that sit on top of the leg, that's probably
I think
fine.
that they probably have. You tried to just put 2 pieces together and leave it and see if they fall apart?
No, they click together, just not as well as Legos
Well, there you
or
go.
even Mega
Yeah.
Bloks.
Yeah.
So, super glue.
That's
I mean, people
could
do
glue it.
glue
Yeah.
Lego sets together.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It would be easier.
Yeah, 2,400's a lot.
Yeah, 2,500.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
Wait, it's 2,500 pieces?
yeah. No, 2,500 screws.
Okay, I was
Wait.
gonna say if there's a screw for every hole on a Lego, they would be like 10 times the amount of
Wait, so
pieces.
2,500 screws, how many pieces?
I forget because they don't have them in total. It just says there's this many of this and this.
Because they don't want to scare people away.
But it looks so cute.
I know it's gonna. I can't wait till
You're gonna fall in love with it, and then you're gonna start making Gundams and like a
No,
Hell yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Go down that.
Oh, no, this is way more
The real
intense than the
Transformers.
most Gundam kits,
Yeah.
I think, even.
No, you're going to go the super dad route and it's going to be World War II fighters, like, just in a week.
Yeah.
All right, so who here remembers the catchphrase of
Oh, bugger.
there it is.
Yeah, I definitely remember that.
You had the bugger counter, Kay. You don't remember?
Listen,
We lost track.
All right.
A lot of this movie slid off
that
of my
movie,
brains.
more so than, well, I think actually, even Final Fantasy Spirits Within,
Yeah.
I don't, nothing.
I'm so
Ri- rita-
excited for Days Recap because the second we stopped recording, I blocked that entire thing out of my memory.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly.
I did have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
I'm
I'll
really
tell you,
happy.
I
Did
got
you
the-
watch it again?
No, I refused to this
Okay,
time.
because you
Okay.
did that for
I-
Street
You
Fighter.
did.
But that's because that was a good movie.
It was.
Agreed.
I do have something that'll help me with at least half of the recap, though. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bought him a book again.
God, I wish Raul Julia was in this. It would have been something.
Aww.
If Raul
Oh,
Julia
bugger.
as Lara Croft, that would have been amazing.
No,
As
he
Lara
needed to
Croft?
be. He needed to be John Voight.
No, but we would. No, Lara Croft has to be Lara Croft.
True, but could you imagine
Is
Raul
Ra-
Julia with a mausoleum that is just a concrete camping tent?
Is he more or less believably her dad?
Raul Julia?
Yeah.
More.
Actually, more.
But
Yeah,
then
might
again,
be
John
more.
Voight is Angelina Jolie's actual
know,
dad.
that's
so
still
maybe
saying.
not.
Raul Julia, more so. I'm gonna say.
All right, so around this time last year, we covered the wonderful schlocky mess that was the aforementioned Street Fighter the movie. And while it may seem obvious to tackle the live-action adaptation of its martial arts counterpart, Mortal Kombat, I thought instead that we discuss a motion picture and franchise that is yet to really get its attention on our show.
So bad at you.
Not to be confused with its more reined-in 2018 reboot featuring Alicia Vikander, This is the story and making of 2001's Lara, not Lara Croft, Tomb Raider.
They say it both ways.
Starring
in the movie.
Angelina Jolie, they do. The first of 3 attempts to bring the once buxom hero to the big screen. It's based off the action-adventure gaming series of the same name, of course, and despite being somewhat forgotten now, this was a fairly big hit back then. So much that it even got a direct sequel in 2003. Review-wise, neither did great, but it also isn't known for being a spirits within level disaster either. Today, it's more of a, oh yeah, that thing kind of reaction.
I don't. Go listen to our episode on Spirits Within if you want to know how much of a disaster that was.
Yes.
I don't think any video game adaptation ever has been a Spirits Within level disaster.
No, and probably...
It
It was barely a video game
it almost
adaptation.
tanked one of the biggest publishers currently in the industry.
So how exactly did this come to be, and what did we think of it? Well, this is Hot Button. I'm Randall Beatrice, here in the studio with fellow bad film experts, Austin Blakesley,
Bugga.
Kay Linderman,
Bugger.
Dave Slitty,
Oh, bugger.
and Liz Dahovich.
Oh, bugger.
Thank you all for coming back. I didn't think
Well, no. The movie was so bad that I was excited to come here and shit on it, but then I promptly forgot everything about it, other than that it was bad.
Liz brought up earlier this week, we were hanging out, the boat full of doggies.
Yeah.
So
that was cool.
I remember that.
That was the funniest part of the whole movie. We were just imagining that the boat was piloted by a small dog.
Oh.
And so who's down to dissect this masterpiece? And don't worry, we'll still get to MK and the Doom with the Rock. I just wanted to explore an IP that hasn't already been mined on our podcast the way those have. We're going to talk about tits a lot. So be ready. Before we get to the topic at hand, however, we need to take a quick dive into the history of the Tomb Raider games. Its debut entry was released in 1996, believe it or not, for the Sega Saturn prior to ports on the PS1 and PC a month after.
Wait, the PlayStation one was a port?
Yeah,
Wow.
which is funny because the character was always closely associated with the PlayStation brand during the era. So, but it was developed by Core Design and published by Eidos Interactive. This, along with all its follow-ups until Crystal Dynamics took over in 2006, with later installments post-2009, including the new trilogy, being under Square Enix, following their acquisition of Eidos.
They were busy making better games, like Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
Except now the rights have been bought by Embracer. Yes, this is in 2022, actually.
Didn't they shut down? Didn't they let go of Crystal Dynamics?
Well,
Or
Bracer's
they
been like
they
hemorrhaging.
still own Tomb Raider,
Yeah,
but they let go of Crystal Dynamics because Crystal Dynamics is doing Perfect Dark.
co-developing Perfect Dark.
I know the second quadruple A game after
After
Skull and Bones.
Bones.
Yeah.
In total, there are 12 mainline games, 8 spin-off games, and 2 collections / remasters. Not too shabby for everyone's favorite British archaeologist. Together, they've sold over 95 million copies worldwide. There's also several comic books and novels portraying their tales. The three movies, as I've said, when you add these, the franchise has earned a near 1.2 billion in revenue. Although it's definitely far with where we're at now, because the number this was shared in 2002, and for whatever reason, there hasn't been an internal update on that since. So I don't know why. Like, that's
Wait, what do you mean?
It's just because it's like, you know, passed between so many studios, so many
maybe
different
I was saying that it
owners.
earned over $1 billion by 2002. This is excluding.
Oh, it's way higher than that now.
It has to be
I mean,
colossally.
We
like-
know the video game industry well enough to know that they don't like to talk about how much money they make, whether it's good or
Yeah,
bad.
when they want to talk about it when it's high.
Yeah,
like-
so it's probably not that high, which is not true because the reboot series did insanely well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In general, the majority of these performed highly with both critics and fans. Your Angels of Darknesses aside, a good handful won awards and achieved platinum status in sales. They got a spot in Guinness. The latest line especially are awesome, as Austin said. The originals can be tough to return to, though I guess that's why they were recently remade. But the protagonist in particular was what truly stuck out to folks.
Stuck out.
Even an eye out.
Yeah.
Even in 2024, she remains one of the most recognizable fictional characters in the medium. And sure, you could absolutely argue that those early years were heavily due to sex appeal. That's since been amended, with the current version of Lara getting celebrated as having much more better emotional depth and writing to her person rather than just the shorty shorts and ample boobs from the result of a glitch.
They woked her though.
They wokeified.
She's gay now.
No, they said that she's just never been with a man, but they didn't. The person that created her, or that said like, oh, we just don't want her to be sexual at all.
I know.
So maybe she's asexual. I don't know.
No. They're currently making Netflix is currently making a Tomb Raider anime.
So we'll get to that. That's in my script.
And there's a scene in the trailer where she's holding hands with another woman, and they're looking at each other. And
good for her.
And a certain subset of gamers were not fans of that.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah.
Jinx. But her face was everywhere, and so also to go back to that glitch part for a sec. So. I don't know if everyone's aware of that.
No, actually.
Yeah. So, do you want to explain it maybe just a little bit?
I don't know the technical details of it.
Okay.
I just know that she has a reputation for
rendered
having pointy boobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's
in the first game.
That's only in the first game, and that is the result of a glitch. I didn't look into the technical details of why. And it has something to do with how the polygons are rendered.
Yeah. Okay. And they thought it was funny, so they super leaned into it, and it worked. She was the symbol of video game heroines throughout the 90s. Obviously problematic, though a significant portion of their consumer base was women. This probably by virtue of there not being many options for games where a player could play as a woman. And in this genre. Could you imagine?
I think if you were to make a Mount Rushmore of video game female protagonist, I feel like she would be the George Washington.
Probably.
And then Samus.
Yeah, Samus, Chun-Li, and Jill Valentine.
I was going to say Jill.
Princess Peach.
Oh, yeah, Princess Peach.
Gotta have Peach.
I was going to say, well, Peach she didn't get a game until 2009, and it sucked.
Was that the one where you fought enemies with your emotions?
Yeah.
She would have to cry a lot.
Women,
yeah.
Am I right?
And I insist on Samus having the helmet on.
Oh yeah,
in this Mount Rushmore. Yeah.
None of that. Recognize what she was if you didn't.
Yeah, exactly. None of this other bullshit.
You have to find a really big rock formation to carve Samus Aran's helmet out of it.
But hey, she's still a badass, and people dig badasses.
Lara Croft rules.
That and the clear inspiration from Indiana Jones helped as well. Not to mention your schoolyard rumors of the hotly sought after and infamous quote Nude Raider mod. While this never existed officially, horny gamers would pass around their personal software patch to make it so. The devs at Core Design did want to pursue legal action. However, Eidos stepped in to deliver the cease and desist themselves. The rights holder won, and the domain where it was hosted was promptly shut down. In response to the controversy, programmers on the sequel would cheekily toss in a pin-up picture of Lara in her underwear packaged into the PC edition, that trapezoid box that Liz...
I remember that. Formative memories.
And leak a secret cheat that, when entered, explodes your in-game model into a pile of cartoonish body parts. So
I want to see that.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
They share it on forums online. They're like, this is the nude code. And then when kids would put the nude code, she'd just pop like a balloon.
All right, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Little boys are just like, oh God, I have a new thing now.
Work with what you got.
You thought you were teaching me a lesson, but you made me worse.
What are the jokes on you? I'm super into this shit.
Yeah.
Trapezoid titties and flying body parts.
Anyway, the point of this is that everybody and their mom was irking to see this character naked. Even magazines and websites witnessed an influx of purchases and traffic when she was prominently featured. Croft was here to stay. I'll never forget the cover of it's that cover of Game Informer where Duke Nukem is holding her chest.
Mm-hmm,
you remember?
mm-hmm.
It was
Oh,
recreating
yeah.
the Madonna
Yep.
Rolling Stones one. But yeah,
You
stay
know why
classy.
everyone was so concerned? Because DeviantArt didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
It's
And
true.
We couldn't have fan art.
Yeah, they
Had
didn't
been
know
Newgrounds
yet
for
how
them.
terrible things were going.
You couldn't get a furry version of.
Yeah, we
Lara
didn't
Croft.
reach Rule 34 yet.
Yeah. We were years away from inflation.
Yeah. Well,
By 1998, where our backstory on the film begins, the first two titles, Tomb Raider 1 and 2, were out and doing pretty great. They scored a 91 and 85 on Metacritic, respectively, and sold millions of units, particularly in their native country of the UK, or Britain.
the United Kingdom,
Yeah, okay. I always...
a.k.a.
England-
Great Britain.
I know, yeah. Now, before we continue further, what are your guys' experience with the franchise?
They're so bad.
Did anyone play these original releases or the reboot series for that? I know we've,
I mean, yeah, I've played everything up from 3 on. Never
Okay.
played 1 and 2. Played 3. Didn't like it. I don't think it holds up well. And then the 2000s ones are also bad. And then the everything 2010s on is good. Guardian of Light,
Legends.
and Lara Croft Go, and the reboot trilogy.
yeah.
Reboot trilogy is amazing.
Yeah.
Rise of
Absolutely.
the Tomb Raider is fucking
It's the best
rules.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a PlayStation as a kid, so I really didn't. I wanted to
Did
play.
you have a Saturn?
I didn't.
That's good.
No,
Nobody did.
Yeah, yes, but I did play. Yeah, I started playing around the reboot series, and it's incredible.
It's incredible, yeah.
Fucking rules.
I have only played the first of the reboot games.
Oh, no, you got to get to at least Rise. That's the Dark Middle chapter.
Oh.
You stopped before the best one?
I think I got it free on Epic at some point.
You should play Rise of the Tomb
Yeah.
Raider. And Shadow.
Shadow is
Shadow's
still
good,
great.
too.
Yeah.
Shadow is not Crystal Dynamics. They were busy making Avengers.
Oops.
So when I was little, I had no game systems, and
Your parents hated you.
me and my dad were walking through CompUSA, and I found the
Hell yeah.
trapezoid shaped box with I think it was Revelations, and then they had inside there
Yeah,
was
the
like a
fourth one.
demo for like the older ones, and I specifically remember playing Cold War Tomb Raider, where she's in the tiniest parka of all time.
A
She's
crop
still
top
got the
parka?
short
Too.
shorts
Yeah.
and like the tiniest, tightest parka you've ever seen, and she dives underwater and
Like freezing water.
in freezing water and fights and harpoons sharks.
Hell yeah.
Rules.
Well, it's a good
It
thing
was
she had that
awesome.
parka then. you
Yeah.
know?
It's interesting that you probably have the earliest experience
Yeah.
than all of us.
Yeah. Everybody knows that no heat escapes from your legs. So.
When you showed me that outfit, by the way, you didn't mention that the big parka, or the tiny parka she's wearing rather, is also a crop top parka.
Yeah.
So like
There's like a sliver of belly
Yeah.
underneath, and the
Just what you
shortest
want.
shorts of all time.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
also, I had inside the trapezoid box set is a fold out CD case that has a centerfold
Yep.
of Lara Croft with no top on the beach, and it's amazing.
Why, is that-
Formative childhood memories.
why isn't that tacked up in your room?
I
So-
don't know.
I'm gonna find you.
Listen, next time I have a birthday or something, I need a poster-sized version of that.
Okay.
It's also good you can't
In
lose.
high
You don't
raise.
lose much heat from your core.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Nothing vital in there. No organs
All-
that are particularly.
Mm-mm.
All your heat is generated from your shoulders.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. Yeah.
Ah.
So me and Liz decided to do some boots on the ground research for this.
Brave.
So the old ones are certainly a tad clunky by the standards of today, to put it mildly. They were definitely influential. Make no mistake. Like, I love the new games. Love Uncharted, which was of course inspired by these. But like, I know we still want to try those remasters that
We're
came out
definitely going to
this
play
year,
the
yeah.
remasters, but
I heard those fixed a ton of issues, even though like it's not even the tank controls that super bother me. But like,
you can't do anything.
Yeah.
We played
They
1
were
and
hard
2,
as balls.
and I think we got through about like 15 minutes of each one.
yeah,
And we
you
barely.
ran through the obstacle courses at a
Oh
mansion.
yeah, and then there's like this great thing that I think all the games had, where there was just this part where you're at her mansion and you could practice,
yeah,
and it would
Your
have
butler
like an
would follow you
obstacle
around.
course, and you would have like a timer, and like you could see how fast
you get to
could
test
do
all the
obstacle course.
mechanics, like before you run into them in the game. I for reference though, because we had to. I was like, okay, this is 1996. 1, 2, and 3 are all kind of born like they all feel this indistinguishable kind of like it's like they told different stories and were different locales, but they didn't like change a lot until the fourth one. But it was like 1996 is like, we were figuring, the only other 3D games that came out that year were Bubsy 3D and then Super Mario 64, which is like...
Never heard of it.
Yeah, so I had her play Mario 64 back to back.
We went on a tour of 3D games.
Did you play
it was like,
Bubsy?
this is what it should feel like. We did not play
Oh,
Bubsy.
Oh, come on.
This does feel better than Bubsy.
I feel like
But it is
Bubsy
night and day. Like,
Bubsy puts it more in perspective than Mario 64 does.
yeah, well, at least I will say Tomb Raider is trying to go for realism over like, but it's like Mario 64 plays like a dream even now.
But I
Like,
had
it's
no
so fast
idea
and
that that was one of
punchy.
the first
Yeah.
3D games.
Yep.
And that's crazy.
Yeah. And and then had you look at like Star Fox 64 and GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't personally beat any until the 2013 version. That, and I also took a break during the PS2 GameCube generation. I heard their first remake and reboot were good.
Yeah.
Legend and Anniversary. So-
I remember liking Anniversary. I'm actually not sure if I played Legends,
Okay.
but I remember liking Anniversary.
Because I played Legends. I think that was like very early 360.
Yes.
I might have rented that on like. But the and then Guardian of Light is the co-op XBLA top-down action game. It's 4 players.
Are you all Lara Croft?
I don't. Who are you?
Does Lara Croft with different shirts on? Like,
Lara Croft, her butler,
Yeah.
her IT guy,
Yeah.
and then a
Daniel
second
Craig.
Lara Croft.
Everyone else she bullies in that house. And then Austin brought up Go, which I don't know if you guys have seen that. It's like a puzzle game. It's very cool.
I've seen it.
They made
Actually, I'm
a
not
Hitman Go
familiar.
and stuff.
Lara Croft and Totec, an ancient Mayan warrior and leader of the Army of Light.
What?
oh.
All right.
Those are the 2 people in Guardian of Light.
We should look back and
He's
some
the
of these.
Guardian of Light. That's why it's named that.
Oh wait, so if it's 4-player, who are the other ones?
I
Goon?
think it's 2-player.
Oh,
I think Temple of Osiris is 4-player.
Who is in that?
I thought that was Destiny.
Oh.
Oh no, that's Curse of Osiris.
Ah, damn it.
Wait, I have a big question. Why
Yeah.
did they never do an Indiana Jones Tomb Raider crossover?
LucasArts, probably. Well, no, they. I don't know. Eventually, they'll all be owned by Disney, and then
Yeah.
it'll get folded in on itself. That makes so much sense, though.
Lara Croft, Carter, Isis, and Horus are the 4 characters. In
Oh, so
Oh,
a lady with guns and then 2 gods?
All-
no,
all
and
the stars are
also the
here.
famous, Egyptian god Carter.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was born like 2010 or something.
They're both good though.
Moving on to movie. So we're gonna save
Oh,
our
do we have to?
we're gonna save our opinions till later. But
Oh, sorry.
first, it's time for one of Dave's famous film summaries. Da-da-da-da. Yeah, patent pending. Patent pending.
On down.
Dave, if you will, what actually happened in this motion picture? And yes, there is a novelization. And yes, Austin did buy it for you. And how has that been going?
So as far as movie novelizations goes, this should win a Pulitzer.
Really?
However, I will say that it is one of the worst books that I've read in the past 5-6 years.
You said it was better than Spirits Within, or at least
He
more
said
comprehensible.
one of the worst.
Did you make
Okay.
it to all of the pictures though?
I did.
One of them is of her in the shower, like in the.
Yeah, the most important thing is that on page 171, it's a hyper close up of Lara Croft.
It's so random. Like, why is that there?
That's in a lot of movie novelizations.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
at
they
that
don't
time
usually
period.
have the protagonist in a shower though.
Well,
but-
that's
Did
in
they
the
add
movie
in?
though.
Wait, did they add in the?
I was wondering that as well.
no, that's what the shower scene looked like. I think.
Was it just like cut off, like
Because it
Austin Powers
There
style?
was a wall, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if they added in the the black box to
I think it's
block
the-
her off from the shoulders
I think
down.
it's the
or not.
resolution of that picture. Just it looks bad.
Okay, I was looking for something and it was blocked by a wall. Okay, that's all. I'll say.
You needed we needed something
Yeah.
from that. Yeah.
So I will say, as poorly written as this book is, it does provide a lot of context for things that happened in the movie, seemingly without explanation at all.
Do you think that the author expanded on it, or do you think that he got a script that
See-
before the movie was cut
Oh,
down?
no.
Yeah.
See, that's a
dramatically?
very good question.
Yeah.
I think it could go either way.
Yeah.
But the more and more I read of this, I do think that he got the script and then expanded on it.
Mm-hmm.
My main piece of evidence for that is that the leader of the Illuminati, spoilers, listener, in the movie is credited as the Distinguished Gentleman. In the book,
Right. He has a name.
No. He's known as the Distinguished Gentleman, and then there's like a 2-paragraph explanation of like nobody knows his name. He is just known as the distinguished gentleman. And I'm like, okay, so you didn't give him a name, and you just thought it would be cool to write that in. Like,
you said the book has a lot more dad.
the book has a lot of dad. There's a
Really?
lot of flashbacks. There's actually a prologue that shows dad interacting with Lara in some ways that would actually maybe give you an emotional attachment to that character, as opposed to just kind of one-off exposition.
They tried that in the movie, but it wasn't very good.
No.
Oh, this also isn't very good, but at least it's there. They do also. Well, okay, I don't want to get too far into the weeds here.
Okay.
So, movie opens, star wipe, clock wipe.
Clappy.
Yep.
Clapper.
The
Clapper on.
transitions.
So I may get the order of these scenes wrong
Okay.
because the movie sucked and I don't remember a lot of it. Oh, sorry, I should hold my opinions. You're right.
It's gonna be hard to explain this without any sort of bias.
Exactly. So if you're listening, listeners, and you have watched the movie previously, if I have these out of
I'm
order, I
sorry.
apologize. I promise it won't.
Oh, the
hurt.
commentary will be coming first.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
So,
we apologize if you watched along with us. Hopefully, we spiced it up a little bit.
we talked about a lot of other movies, so look forward to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we open on a large room with 99 people and 2 British goobers walking forward to give some sort of report. It's a large room full of Illuminati-looking people because this is our antagonist for the movie, the Illuminati.
Yeah.
They get their grand master plan to find the 2 triangles while the planets are aligning for the first time in 5,000 years. But they need to find the triangles, but the bad guy doesn't know where to find the triangles. So then they gotta go find them, and they're gonna do it.
Wait, is this before she fights the robot?
I don't remember.
No, it opens on the robot fight.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It-
then.
yeah.
So
That I pointed out looks like the droidicas from the Star Wars prequels.
he has a name in the book.
Real?
We'll
Wait,
get there.
the robot has
The
a
robot
name?
has a name in the book. Anyway,
Training. Great.
so apparently before that, this scene opens on Lara Croft raiding in what appears to be a tomb with very good lighting and what appears to be
That was sarcasm.
a reciprocating searchlight in this ancient Egyptian tomb. Very confusing. And she sees a thing that she's going to go grab. Big old robot pops out of nowhere, like, most Egyptian tombs would also have. Incredibly somehow boring
No
robot
robots
fight
in the
scene.
game. Yeah.
No robots in the game. This is true. Destroys the robot, and it turns out it's a training room in her mansion.
Her 85-room mansion. I don't know why I remember that fact.
That's incredible that you remember that.
Yeah. It's all coming back.
So we're then introduced to her training regimen and how her mansion looks, and then also her IT guy, Bryce,
Yeah.
who is upset that she shot the robot that he programmed to kill her in just the worst interaction I've seen on screen.
She picks on him constantly.
She
Because he's a nerd.
Dork.
Yeah.
It's not picking on. It is like
Abuse.
Yeah.
like a dom sub thing. Like,
Yeah.
she is
She's-
like brutal to these men that she employs.
she's way nicer in the book. Like she
Okay.
goes out of her way to like compliment Bryce a lot.
Oh,
like so
wow.
she's still like rough with him, but it seems like it's more playful.
Okay.
Whereas like Angelina Jolie just looked like she was just bullying those men.
yeah.
So we then learned that in the book, the robot's name is of course Street Fighter.
What?
No. You're making that up.
Fuck out of here.
I will try and find it later.
All right,
While someone else is
I'll
talking.
I'll take your word.
So Bryce is upset, has to fix Street Fighter. And then we get
makes
introduced
sense.
to the fact that Lara Croft's dad
I
has
would
been
have never
missing
guessed that.
for 20 years since 1981.
A million years.
Really? You couldn't think that they wouldn't have gone with like some sort of video game pun?
I thought they would have been like, oh, his name is like Ryu after Ryu.
Why Street
know, and
Fighter?
Just the,
Are there any robots in Street Fighter?
no.
Well, it's because he's
I don't know.
trained to fight in a tomb. Street Fighter.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We're-
Lara Croft famous for exploring and fighting in the streets.
It's true.
Sorry, carry on.
Lara Croft's dad, missing for 20 years, lost in the field. We see the most incredible mausoleum in the world, which is just an explorer's tent made out of concrete.
So good.
Yeah.
Just absolute power play.
And it's on her property too, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By her pool.
Right out front.
Yeah, well, just so she never forgets. But I will also say, just to go back to the book for just 1 second, the way that Lara Croft's chapter starts is, it was May 15th, Lara Croft was not a happy camper. Just to kind of give you an idea of the caliber we're working with here.
That's drama.
I want to add that there's this. Maybe I'm not supposed to talk. You're
You
doing
can
your
add.
sum up, but there's a very specific line that really bothered me, and it's like her butler comes up to her, and he's like upset that she's not being more feminine.
Yep.
Oh,
Is that
right.
part of the book?
Yep.
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
too.
the dress is all through here.
Oh boy.
But yeah, they did the wonderful 90s thing of
you
like,
should smile.
you're a strong woman. How you should wear dresses and you'd be prettier, whatever.
She's an archaeologist.
Yeah.
Like,
Also,
I
movie
also-
distinct lack of fashions.
I didn't say
Yeah.
this in the commentary, but he's like, you should be more ladylike. And she's like,
here's go.
"Pff." And then she goes and puts on like a flowing like pantsuit
Oh, for the
nightgown.
auction scene. Okay.
No, not for the auction scene. She's wearing a cool biker jacket because
Yeah.
she rides
Oh,
a
yeah,
motorcycle
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But after that, like later in the movie, she's just relaxing around the house, solving mysteries like you do, and she's wearing like like flowing pajamas, and they're not like a dress, but they're also not like they're very feminine.
They wanted
I
to
don't know
have their
what
cake
the-
and eat it too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know what the problem this butler has with her femininity is. 'Cause
It
Yeah.
just seemed like so out of place. Like,
Yeah,
what
it
does
was
this
odd.
have to do with anything? Like, also, you're not her father. Like, you're her employee.
listen, the video
Maybe that's
games-
why she treats him like shit because he's an
video games
asshole.
in the early 2000s, we had to explain that this lady was strong and independent because she's not feminine.
Yeah,
Because
that's
because
you can't
feminine,
be
that
to
is very
both,
important.
you can't be both. You
Mhm.
can't
Yep.
be. You can't kick ass and take names and also be pretty
no, you have
and
to
wear dresses.
Yeah,
you
that's
have to
bullshit.
resemble a man in
Mhm,
order to
mhm.
be taken seriously.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Good
I
thing-
do remember
good
the
thing-
90s.
Good
Yeah.
thing we got over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, misogyny is over. Sexism
Yeah.
is over. We're good. We're fine.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
that was over 20
that was a
years ago.
what a crazy
Times
time.
are different, man.
Yeah.
Glad we got through it.
Yeah.
So, so at this point, I believe we're introduced via one of the numerous flashbacks of John Voight to the fact that there is a triangle of power that was created 5,000 years ago,
So stupid. I hate it. They call
which
it
during the alignment of all 9 of the planets, because this was before Neil deGrasse Tyson ruined everything for everyone and pitched a hissy about Pluto.
Oh, wait, that was
and-
that was him.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think it was actually
Oh,
him.
I was gonna say,
Um,
I'm willing to blame
that
him.
Fucker. Yeah.
anyway,
Reinstore Pluto's planet status. My platform.
Sure.
I'm with him.
Yeah.
2024, Randall Beaches.
Yeah.
More
and
Pluto.
Let's save Pluto.
So the Illuminati's plan is to get both halves of this great triangle of power back together during this alignment and eclipse to be granted the powers of a god, which include time travel.
Yes.
However, they're missing a piece to figure out where it is, where these pieces were hidden, which is the Clock of Ages. Once again, very Indiana Jones.
We talk about the time travel at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, they
The
do.
time travel was a
What, the
surprise
portal?
to me when it happened.
No,
That's fair.
they briefly hint at it when they're talking about
Okay.
why
'Cause
the
I don't know if my eyes
why
glazed
the
over during that
triangle
part.
was
Yeah, I can't
split in
imagine how
two
that could
pieces.
It's just a MacGuffin. Like, it's just
It is a
It is a
MacGuffin.
thing
MacGuffin.
that we
Yeah.
have to get.
It's a
Yeah.
MacGuffin, but they do show like which I have a question about this. They do show some ancient civilization using that triangle to kill other people and then splitting it in half and being like, this is too powerful. And
Yep.
Dave made the point of being like, why don't you just destroy it then instead of splitting it in half and hiding it, which is a good point. But also,
we
I
wouldn't
wanted
have
to
a
ask,
movie.
did I miss it in the movie or is it in the book? Do they talk about what civilization that was?
They do say it in the book.
Mm.
Oh,
And
they
it's
do?
actually kind of critical because it kind of makes a lot of the movie make a lot more sense.
Okay.
Because the people in the book who made this relic were the Men of Light,
Mhm.
the Illuminati.
Oh, okay.
So the Illuminati has existed for 5,000 years. They are the descendants of this ancient civilization trying to get the Triangle of Power back to bring the Illuminati to become the world-spanning civilization again.
Wait,
Mm.
Literally
So-
not included in the movie.
so the Illuminati.
That seems like a
Important.
yeah.
The way they like when they portray it in the movie, I immediately was like, oh, it's like a ancient Mayan or Aztec civilization because they had like the big pyramid and everything. Which I
Right.
get. Okay, yeah, I guess, Illuminati,
Yes.
which is probably also how they made that connection. Whatever the screenwriters were.
That's what I was asking, because I just like assumed it was the Mayans because of like the Mayan calendar and the end of the world thing, but then like I was like, or it could be the Aztecs or the Incans or any like Sumerians. Like they never say, and I guess it was just the Illuminati.
It's just the Illuminati.
Okay.
I feel like somebody had a pile of papers that was this script, dropped it on the ground, and then like forgot.
Yeah,
like,
the intern
10
just
of them.
dropped it, and the pages weren't
No,
numbered.
the screenwriter told
And-
his intern, "Go get me a cup of coffee." And then when he came back, he's like, "Here's your change." And he saw the triangle on the back of the dollar bill and went, "Wait,
I've got it.
breakthrough."
And then National Treasure was made.
Yeah.
So we now have our MacGuffin. We now have our characters introduced. Mr. Powell is the member of the Illuminati who's looking for the clock to get the triangle pieces.
That's
Yes.
Jorah Mormont, right?
Jorah Mormont, yes. His goober little crony, Mr. Pims, and Lara Croft and her ragtag bunch of Bryce, her IT guy, and Hillary, her butler. Now, another piece of context. Hillary is a man who's going to risk his life for Lara Croft many, many times in this movie, just doing some wild-ass shit, like pulling out a shotgun at a SWAT raid.
Whoa.
No,
you
that
don't
happened in the
remember-
movie.
That was in the movie. You don't remember that?
Wait,
Oh
so
yeah,
the
yeah,
SWAT-
yeah. No, I do remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
when everybody broke into her house at
Yeah.
night, and there's a lot of everybody's on the wires, and then he has
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So he is the son.
Does he actually shoot anybody, or does he just shoot it?
No,
Yeah, I didn't think.
he
No,
gets out late.
I think he like fires it into the air to scare them, or like something.
Yeah, he fires into the air or fires at them and
At
misses,
them and misses.
then gets like a
He does
a rain
shoot it. A
bullets.
bunch of spikes, like sparks go. Like
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I
I do remember that him whipping out the shotgun.
Also, I'm sorry to derail, but this is really important.
Please.
So Bryce has these adorable little mechs
Yeah.
that on
Oh,
his.
right. Yeah.
His
Is
Robo
that in the
Buddies.
book?
Are they in the book?
Absolutely.
He
Do they
sleeps
have-
in the bed with them.
Do they have names?
No, but he does have genders for them. Like he calls them he and she because
Aw.
Lara calls them it and he gets upset.
Aw.
They're nameless, but they're gendered.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm.
Peak 2000.
I was hoping they would have cute names.
Well, to
Yeah,
be fair, I am
yeah.
also only halfway through the book.
Their names are like Mortal Kombat and Virtua Fighter and Soul Calibur
Yeah.
and
Dead or alive.
yeah.
I think he just calls them his bugs.
Okay.
That are alive.
There's one
Beach
called
volleyball.
Under Night
Yeah.
in Birth.
Live Extreme Beach Volleyball.
Killer Instinct.
Melty
Um,
Blood.
So, Lara Croft has a nightmare in the middle of the
How
night.
did we not say Guilty Gear? Sorry.
Dude, that
Way
makes
better.
so much more sense.
Lara Croft is dreaming after being upset that her dad is dead on the 15th, like she is every year on the 15th of May. And
They
she
show her dream in the movie. Yeah.
here's it's in the book. And here's a clock ticking downstairs.
Loud
Oh,
ass
yeah,
clock.
Yeah, that she
Loud
just
ass clock.
she just
She
like
hears it in her 85-room mansion.
she comes
Under the
downstairs and then
stairs.
just smashes through it with another art. She, instead of getting a crowbar or a hammer, she just takes some like priceless like statue.
She
I
could,
got plenty of these.
Yeah.
she couldn't afford a sledgehammer because she had to buy a Hubble telescope to put in her mansion.
Yep. So
That, by the way, she just so happened to see the planets align, which she didn't know she was going to need to do until that moment. I just want to point that
exactly
out.
where to look.
She just got it on Amazon
Yeah,
delivered
yeah.
to her house.
No, it's remember she uses UPS in the movie.
Oh,
it is
excuse
UPS.
me.
That guy's also in the book.
Yeah.
Has just as critical of a role. So Lara's woken up by the ticking of this clock. Smashes, as Randy said, underneath the stairs to get this clock out. Finds a whole bunch of her dad's old stuff that has been hidden in this hidden compartment for a long time.
Yeah.
Gives the clock to Bryce, her IT guy, and says, "Figure out what this is." They find something inside that looks suspicious, so she does the only thing she knows how to do when interacting with objects and smashes it again.
Yeah.
With a hammer this time.
Yeah.
at
With a hammer,
least.
yes,
Yeah.
correct. And inside is a small disc with the all-seeing eye of the Illuminati, and numerous dials that is not counting up, but it's counting down to something. And there's 9 panels on it that are spinning and coming into some sort of alignment. We have no idea what this is for. No possible way we could possibly into it. That this thing that started ticking as soon as the alignment
Need
began
more context clues.
would be counting down to something in the next 3 days. I don't know. It's impossible to know. So she finds this thing, brings it to her dad's old friend, who's an antiques appraiser and clock expert, and he says he has no idea what it is. So she's then pointed towards another one of his associates, Mr. Powell. So Mr. Powell has been looking for this clock. And another thing that is set up in the book, not set up in here, that old dude, also in the Illuminati. Like, the whole reason he sends her to Mr. Powell
That
is
makes
because
sense.
he's in the Illuminati, so he knows the
Gotcha.
Illuminati is looking for the clock.
I mean, isn't it the fair assumption to just say that everybody who isn't Lara Croft, the butler, or the IT guy is in the Illuminati?
Daniel Craig's not in the Illuminati.
He's working for
He
him.
is he's hired
He's
by
a
them.
crony.
Yeah, he's...
Yes. So now Mr. Powell knows that Lara Croft has the clock, and she goes home and leaves the clock in her house so she can try and figure out what it is. He also lies to her and says he has no idea what the clock is. So that night, while she's doing her nightly bungee aerobics,
As you do.
The Illuminati send a strike force in to break into her house and
Shoot everything.
shoot everything, and steal the clock. They successfully get the clock out, and Lara is now stuck without any way of figuring out where these pieces of the triangle are, so she can go and.
And we also
deal with
pointed
that.
out that she has no security,
No
despite
security.
living in this massive estate.
Holy shit!
Like
A guard dog. One.
And
Bryce had cameras. He was just sleeping. He was just eepy. He's an eepy boy.
he's tired from working on puppets all day.
The next morning, after the entire mansion's been completely and thoroughly fucked, they are cleaning the mansion up. And once again, Kay, in the book, Bryce programs his little robots to take care of it. So there you go. You get your favorite characters to
That's
come
how they
back.
clean up.
There's just
Yeah.
like 10 Roombas.
Were they the ones that also scrubbed the microwave meal that exploded?
Oh, yes, the famous microwave meal. So, in between the scenes of the Lara going to see the clock inspector, Mr. Wilson, and being directed towards the antagonist, Mr. Powell, there's a scene where Mr. Wilson calls her late at night, and inexplicably after the conversation, she opens up her microwave. There is a ruined dish of food, and she throws it into the trash.
Specifically like a microwave meal, like
Yes.
a hungry man dinner.
Yes, that's exactly what it looked like. It just
Yeah.
splattered all
Tell
over
you how
absolutely
long to
everything.
microwave it, and
She fucked that
Right.
up.
So, in the book, what is not set up in the
It goes
movie,
deeper into
it goes
the
so
book.
deep into the pot pie.
5
So,
pages about the
in the book,
Yeah.
Mr. Wilson is an old family friend.
Moby Dick.
He has known Lara Croft her entire life and is like an uncle to her.
Yeah.
And before she's leaving to go and get his opinion about the clock, like the antique clock, the clock of ages at this point, Bryce and Wilson were making fun of him, saying he's too old for his own good, like he's not useful anymore. And the reason that she's microwaving is because she was too pissed to let them cook for her. So
Oh.
she's so angry that she's with them for
Okay.
being mean about him that she wanted to cook her own food. It didn't say it was a good justification, but at least it's not just a
She's a
pointless
worse
scene.
fucking chef than me, then.
Yes. So she does explode her pot pie, but she still eats it in the book.
that doesn't needlessly mean to just make fun of him for being old.
There's not a lot of great people in this book in general.
I don't know.
And
Can I say another feminist thing?
Go for it.
Please.
you're on the right podcast for that.
Yeah.
90s tiny skinny woman throwing out her dinner, her
Mm.
whole dinner.
Yep.
That was her food for the week.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say. When you just cut that scene in, like it just cuts from the one scene to a burnt microwave meal or whatever.
Yeah.
There's so many implications that are not great for a woman character.
No. We're trying to make a strong female lead, and
Well, you
we're
have-
like, she can't even eat dinner.
My
and she
my
can't even
interpretation of
microwave
it,
something.
because we were talking about like you have to take all the femininity away to make her like a valid character, main character. That was just like, look, she can't cook. She's less feminine. That's what I took away from the.
Yeah.
That may have been what they were trying to do with that scene there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what it seemed like. The
They
way
were
it's
giving her
the way it's
masculine
edited.
characteristics.
Yeah,
Yes.
And it's a good thing you don't need like
Stereotypically
calories or
masculine.
energy or anything to like, do
Bungee jump?
fucking bungee gymnastics, fight a SWAT team that's invading your home or anything. So it's fine.
It's all
it's okay.
fine.
She doesn't need food.
Yeah, chicken pot
She's a
pies are great for
strong,
that.
strong, independent woman.
They also have her doing like yoga to like classical music
Yeah.
I do that. Me and her. She just like me for real.
So
Great.
relatable.
Yeah.
So,
where
Sorry,
are we?
Dave.
Yeah.
Sorry.
so the clock has now been successfully stolen by the Illuminati. They're now going to be able to triangulate where to find the two pieces of the triangle.
Yeah. Yeah, they're
However,
too
in the morning after, when the Croft Manor is being cleaned up, UPS guy comes in. Hilarity ensues because man doesn't know what's going on. Sure, why, whatever. And she gets a letter from her law agency that is a post-dated letter from her father sent back in the 80s to be opened on exactly this day. And the letter points her towards a book of poetry that they read a lot as children. No, sorry, that she was read to a lot from as a child. And inside of that book, she finds a hidden message written from her father saying, here's everything you need to know in order to find these pieces of the triangle of power. The Illuminati is looking for it, and you need to get it before they do, or else they're going to use it for terrible purposes. So she uses that, triangulates where to find the first piece of the triangle in the Khmer Trail in Cambodia, and the Illuminati has also figured this out. So we cut to her being airdropped into Cambodia near where she believes this this temple is going to be.
Oh yeah,
And-
her car just has like a parachute.
Yes, she needed her Range Rover.
Yeah.
And so that gets parachuted out of an AC-130 or some sort of large plane.
I remember
in
the vehicles
awesome-
being important in the game.
Yeah, you drive them.
Lots of cool Jeeps and stuff.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Can't get to your tombs. If you can't raid your tombs, you can't get to them.
Yeah.
So
Lots of off-roading, yes.
the Illuminati, Mr. Powell and his crony, Alex West, who is another commercial tomb raider, just like Lara Croft, are commanding a bunch of locals to tear down the entrance to this temple. Lara Croft, meanwhile, goes around the back and finds the back door, walks right in,
That's right. Yeah.
wherein we are introduced to a little ghost girl who is going to show up a few times in the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Okay.
Um,
I know I don't want to jump ahead, but like, do they explain?
I will say that we've now reached the limits of where I got.
Oh no.
So
Yeah.
things
All
are
right,
about to get a lot less coherent.
We're
I
off
think.
the rails now.
So yes, I do apologize, listeners. I wasn't able to force my way through 325 pages of Drek in a week.
What are they even paying you for?
I'm just in it for the money. So Alex West, who is a former associate of Lara Croft, they do show in a previous quick scene in the movie that they at least know each other.
Yes.
She-
Initially, they were supposed to be ex-lovers.
They are in the book, yes.
Okay,
It's very well
all
set
right.
up. They have a very extensive.
I bet that. I figured that.
They
Yeah,
just
that's
took
funny.
out all of the fun parts of this movie.
They stripped
they
it
took
away
out-
from as much humanity as possible.
Release the sex scene cut
Yes.
or whatever.
Hey, Jolie agrees with you.
Like,
Yeah.
just anything that could have made them more human, they
Something
took
to grasp
out.
onto.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
how? Like,
Humanity is not important to the plot.
Who's more robotic, the characters or the robots?
but Daniel Craig
The
is
human
so
characters in it.
charming. I wish.
I know he's like the
In
most
every other
charming-
role, yes.
Yeah.
So the Illuminati get in through the front door while Lara Croft goes in through the back door. They are using Alex West to then interpret where to use this clock. Something that I forgot to mention earlier is that the clock is also a key to unlocking where the pieces of the triangle are hidden. So you need both the clock and also to be at the correct part of the planetary alignment in order for the triangle to appear and then be unlocked using the clock.
Right.
So Alex West is decoding all of the carvings in the room to figure out where exactly to put the key and what to do in order to like unlock the sort of keyway. And Lara Croft, who's in a different area, not unbeknownst to the Illuminati, of course, actually solves the puzzle. Alex West is wrong because he's a hack, and ends up announcing herself to the Illuminati with like 30 seconds left before the alignment was going to be at peak, whereas the only time they could have put the key in. Something.
Uh-oh.
And essentially, she convinces Mr. Powell to trust her and not trust Alex, and they throw her the key. She unlocks the thing,
Yes.
jumps on a dumb, stupid pendulum we're not going to get into and gets the triangle of power. Steals the triangle of power and the clock.
Defies the law of physics.
Yeah, not a great
Mhm.
scene or well acted or interesting.
Mhm.
But other than that, so after the triangle of power comes out, the statues in the temple turn out to not be statues. They come alive in what looks like an NVIDIA graphics card cover animation, and starts attacking people. All of the Illuminati and their mercenaries begin to flee, as does...
They seem to go down pretty easily with just bullets.
One bullet, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Seems to be enough from her signature 45.
Yeah, at one point she like shoots one in the head and the whole thing blows up, and I was like, well, that would have taken out a man like just as effectively.
Yeah.
That's,
And also, all of the mercenaries have machine guns. So
right. So theoretically, they should even be more prepared.
Yep.
A bunch of them got though.
Yeah,
A lot of
that's
them
true.
did indeed get got.
Yeah. They had to up the body count somehow. So
So they end up escaping. I forget exactly how this happens, but the Illuminati ends up with the clock. Lara ends up with the triangle. So essentially, they're both stuck.
yeah.
So at this point, it's become obvious that Lara Croft shouldn't want them to have the triangle. Is doing everything in her power to make sure that they still have the opportunity to do it. If she hadn't helped them, they all would have gotten laid the fuck flat. But this does come back later in the movie. They do answer it. because- But so they need to work together. Lara Croft visits the Illuminati headquarters in Venice, where she meets with Mr. Powell, and they convince each other to work together for one last job. She then breaks into Alex West's apartment while he's showering, and then convinces him to work together with her for one last job. And everybody goes into, I believe, Siberia?
Yeah,
Yes,
it
Siberia.
says Siberia. on
Yeah,
the thing,
because I believe in the book they're alluding to the
You
fact
just
that
glossed over our second shower scene, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. So Daniel Craig, get this. Hot and wet. Anyway.
Well, real quick afterwards, they both don't shower like people in the movie. I'm just gonna
No.
say this joke real quick because afterwards you're like, when you shower, do you just stand in the middle and stare up at like it blasting down in your eyes?
Yeah, it's perfect.
All right,
Yeah, just,
and then you wash your body like that.
I
You
feel
mean
like
you don't do that?
people in movies do that a lot. Is that
I don't. Yeah,
is that what people do? Have I been doing it
That's
wrong?
what people do when they're being watched.
That's true.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they've all got like the half wall that they shower behind.
Yeah.
Rather than like a curtain or anything. You got to keep your eyes.
God, all of their rooms are so moldy.
It's disgusting. in
Just
there.
like J.K. Rowling's house.
Mm.
So Lara Croft is now working.
I'll explain that later.
Okay.
I have no idea.
All right, so they're in Siberia. This is where we
Yes.
see our doggies.
So it's alluded to
And our
in
boats,
the book
cars.
that the crater they're going to is actually the Tunguska crater.
Oh,
So
okay.
they're linking
Interesting.
that in too.
Really?
They
I
just don't
think
mention
so.
that in the movie.
Yeah.
No.
No.
It's
That is,
also-
that is in Siberia. That
Yeah.
would-
At least I think so. It's kind of hard to say.
it is a giant crevice or remain in the middle of the.
Yes. So this giant
Forest,
crater
so-
is the remains of the civilization that created the triangle and was destroyed by its power. Kind of. I think that's what happened in the movie because that's not what happened in the book. So
Show them being destroyed by it.
in a flashback with John Voight, I believe.
It's one. I think it's one of those like quick graphics that just like passes by
Man.
in those.
Oh yeah. Also, I
Those
guess this,
I was
Crossfades.
watching this. I swear.
I guess we should probably say this out on mic. John Voight is Mr. Croft. Like I don't know if we've actually said we've just called him John
Oh
Voight.
yes.
So John Voight is Lara Croft's dad.
Yeah.
And also
Yes.
Angelina
We'll get to
Jolie's
her dad in real
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
the Illuminati hire a whole bunch of dogs to dog sled them through Siberia, which is adorable. And there's also dogs on a boat. And,
Yeah.
Dogs in that boat.
and so
It's not just a boat. This boat has wheels.
Yeah.
Right.
It's an
Yeah,
amphibious vehicle.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
an all-terrain snow boat.
Which is
that
so
Yeah.
goes on the
annoying.
land.
It's awesome. It looks so cool.
You have sled dogs. So they drive to the water, they boat across the water, they get out of the boat car, and then sled dog to the place. You have boat cars. Take the boat cars.
hey, no. It's a dark zone. All electronics shut down when you get close to the crater.
Then
That's
why
why
do
they couldn't
need boat
helicopter.
cars?
Because they had to
Also
get
too
across the
heavy.
lake.
Just walk up to the shore and get in a normal boat.
I don't know. My brain was so bored with this movie. I made like an alternate movie that's like filmed in the style of Isle of the Dogs, but it's just about this dog boat.
Oh,
That's
I
incredible.
wanna
That
watch
sounds like
that
a
I would
great
watch
film, yeah.
So they go to this crater, last part of the civilization. Whatever. There's like some weird water puddle thing and like planetarium looking fucking jungle gym. And they have to climb into it and find where to put the key. Once again, ticking clock element of the alignment needs to be perfect so they can get the thing out. And a bunch of people get absolutely fucked by this this wipeout ass.
Oh my
Crushed
God.
into
Yeah.
the-
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And
You skip the time bubble.
oh,
Oh, yeah, the
God,
dog
that was
jumps
so
through.
Stupid.
The dog jumps through the
Well,
time bubble and loses
time-
his skin.
But he gets the skin back and he was fine.
Yeah, it comes
Yeah.
back.
He's happy.
Yeah.
But also, why would a time portal, like,
Make you lose your skin.
yeah,
Doesn't make
and
any
and your
sense.
bones and then the bones and skin
Like
come
it
back?
looked cool, but I mean, it requires more explanation.
Those dogs were very chill with it too.
Yep.
Yeah, that dog
Like,
didn't
he
give a
didn't
fuck.
Yeah, like I was like,
Sorry,
Um,
continue.
Yeah, so they survive the jungle gym of death and get the final quote unquote final triangle piece. And the leader of the Illuminati, who I forgot to mention is now also there,
yeah,
holds up the two ends of the triangle, begins to do his ceremony to reunite the halves, and Mr. Powell raises his finger and has his mercenaries just cut everyone down.
yeah.
So now the entire Illuminati's been dethroned. Mr. Powell
Which
is now
that's
the
kind
head.
of funny.
That was actually pretty good.
good.
So Mr. Powell now grabs the triangles of power, tries to put them together, doesn't work. There's a poem that Lara remembers about the world being in a grain of sand. So she puts the clock of ages into a time bubble, pulls out this little tiny grain of sand from inside of the clock inner workings, and drops it into the triangle because that's the last piece of the triangle.
Right.
Which is definitely like what you would have to do in a Lara Croft Tomb Raider game. And then you'd have to look it up in a walkthrough because it would be
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
A prima
So
prima
common.
guide.
You also forgot that Powell, after he can't get it to reunite,
This is when he throws the
throws
knife.
a knife at Daniel Craig and
They
kills
established earlier.
him,
And he gets wiped
and
out.
then
Oh, that's
only
right.
gets Lara Croft to help him so that they can use the triangle to rewind time so Daniel Craig isn't dead anymore.
Right.
Because her dad didn't want to be saved.
But yeah,
Right.
Daniel. Also, she saves him by bending the
Wait,
knife.
did we even
back.
talk about how she
Well,
goes
we'll get
back
there.
to see her dad?
We'll get there.
Oh,
there.
okay, sorry.
Uh, So yeah, so I forgot that
I'm
that
good
does
here.
actually happen first.
Yeah.
I thought that happened after they had the triangle, but no, you're right.
No.
So yes, at this point, the two halves of the triangle don't go together. Mr. Powell is now the leader of the Illuminati, and he kills Daniel Craig by throwing a knife right into his chest.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, then he gets smushed in the mechanism.
yeah, so he gets turned up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Under
Smooshed.
and drowns.
Yeah.
And Laura tries to save him because she still has feelings for him, which is something that's not at all set up in the movie.
Yeah.
Literally at all. Again,
Yeah,
would
the
make a lot more
sexiest thing is
sense.
that she gives him like half-hearted mouth to mouth underwater.
Yeah.
So in order to get the powers of a god, quote unquote, Lara finishes the triangle for Mr. Powell. They both then rush up yet another NVIDIA game cartridge cover from the early 2000s,
CJ is
Pyramid,
killing it.
and grabs the triangle of power, uses that to talk to her dad first. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and his dad's saying, you know, I'm so proud of the woman you've become. Keep on raiding tombs or whatever. And then
Do you want to come back? No.
yeah, I forget exactly what it was.
Yeah, because he's like, it would fuck with something if you brought me back, or apparently,
Time would be fucked if
yeah.
he
Right.
came
Then
back to
I-
life.
I guess.
But not for Craig.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because that was recent, I guess.
I think because it just happened.
No.
yeah. It's one of those time paradox things where it's like she would never have found it if he came back.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
still
yeah,
dead.
sure.
Like, whatever. Who cares? I played 999.
I feel like we're in group therapy right now, and we're all recounting a traumatic event that happened to us.
Is that
we
not?
were, yeah, we
Is
were
this
all
why-
survivors.
Wait, is
Yes.
this why I blocked out so much of it?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
That's why
crap.
we're like
It wasn't
this is
boring,
Not being
we were all-
recorded. This is just a therapy
Group-
session.
I do remember the Nine Inch Nails song that I didn't know was actually
That's
Nine Inch
right.
Nails, and then
Right.
it turned
Well,
out to be
that's-
Nine Inch
that's
Nails.
coming
we'll
up.
get into that.
Oh, okay, all
That's
right.
coming up.
So, we now figure out why it is that Lara Croft didn't just fucking keep these people from getting this thing or destroying the clock as soon as she had it so it couldn't possibly be unlocked. Even though her dad specifically said, like, make sure you get this because someone else will, even though if they just broke one of the things, nobody could ever have it again. Whatever. Anyway, the whole reason she wanted to have the power was to go back and save her dad so she could spend more time with her dad. Really, really stuck on the whole dad dead 20 years ago thing.
Daddy issues.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So she instead uses that power to go back just far enough in time to turn the knife around while it's midair to save Daniel Craig, Alex West, and stab Mr. Powell right in the chest.
Yep.
And after they do that, she shoots the triangle and explodes, even though it's very expressly said that it was unable to be destroyed, melted, burned, or anything else. in the
Didn't say
movie.
shot at.
And yes, I guess just, you know, if the Illuminati 5,000 years ago had a 45 caliber handgun, this would have been like done and over.
Her bullets were made from the fires of Mount Doom.
So the triangle is destroyed. Mr. Powell is bleeding out on the ground. He reveals that Lara's dad was in the Illuminati the whole time. And also he killed him. And then they fist fight for some reason, even though I just fucking shot the guy in the head.
Well, he says no guns,
Well,
and
yeah.
you know,
That was so stupid.
man,
I hate
Yeah,
that.
I
in
know.
man
movies.
to man. You gotta
Mano a
honor
mano.
yeah, you gotta honor the
Oh,
rules.
fuck off.
So,
I do like that when Daniel Craig comes back, he just like leaves the rest of the movie.
oh yeah, he did not want to finish filming.
Yeah,
He's fucking out.
there's no recap or like for any.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
needed the
Pages.
Breakfast Club, like
yeah,
to like freeze frame showing where everyone is
Yeah.
afterwards.
Well, this is an
Wanted to become a
important.
senator.
This is an important fact to cover, which is that Daniel Craig and a couple other people leave, and they're like, "Lara, come with," and then she's like, "No, I gotta fist fight this dude." So then she goes to fist fight the dude, which everything explodes. So he would have died anyway.
Yeah.
But then
Now
she
won with honor.
sorry to cut off your recap, but then she
Oh
takes
no, we're
the,
getting there.
Yeah.
It's
she
fine.
takes the sled dogs
yeah, she epically
and
escapes with
and
the team of sled
cool
dogs.
runnings her way out of the
Yeah,
out of
'cause
the
sled
building.
itself was all fucked up.
which means that these people left an exploding cave and didn't bring the dogs with them. Would like to
Oh,
point
what a bunch
that
of
out.
bastards! That's a good point.
If Lara Croft didn't need
What
to
a
escape, those
fucks.
dogs would have exploded.
It's true.
True.
Mm-hmm.
The only person that now I hate this movie more.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh wait,
Shocking.
we weren't giving opinions yet.
oh
yeah,
yeah,
whoops.
I
sorry,
think
we'll
we
get-
may have peppered some in.
Just some light foreshadowing.
So she kills him again. I guess I kind of forget because I didn't care. And the cave explodes. Everyone gets out. Yay! Yippee! Happy ending. I literally don't
Yeah.
remember what happens
I don't.
after
I
that.
think the
she-
movie just kind of
it
She
ends.
puts
ends.
on a dress.
She puts on the dress.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
That's the
Uh,
most important scene. She's finally okay
arc
with
is
being
complete.
a woman now that she's saved.
But
the
then she's still
world.
gonna go kick ass, right? Because she's gonna go.
She puts on the dress and she visits her father's grave, so it's like full circle because she
Oh,
does that
yeah.
at the beginning.
And then it plays "Where's Your Head At" by the basement. The basement.
Well, no, but then
Jacks.
she's like, but then even though she's wearing
Which
a
is
dress, they're still like, what is it? She's gonna go do some more training or something. So she's still a badass, even though she's a lady.
And then roll credits.
yeah.
Basically.
Don't you?
there you have it, folks.
Forget about me.
Thank you, Dave.
I did what I could. For how long this movie was, not a lot happened.
No.
It's not very long.
Yeah. Feels
Yeah.
long.
I know. But
It's
for
like-
90 minutes, there sure was like not 90 minutes of stuff.
No.
And yet somehow it felt like 3 hours.
Sure
Yeah.
did.
So that was Lara Croft Tomb Raider, a book on tape. A book on tape. Harry Potter.
oh no.
So
Rivet drag. right, we can't.
So go listen to our commentary track for more antics. I thought I was going to have to apologize for any noisy dog-related shenanigans. Instead, I just had to apologize for the movie. So let's now explore how this came to be.
Wait, are we not doing opinions?
Not yet.
Okay.
We'll get there.
Okay.
So here's what happened. Tiny eyebrows and all. Rewinding back, it's mid-98. Development on Tomb Raider 3 is in full swing. The initial draft of the script prior to the IP permissions being given, which I guess this happens in Hollywood occasionally, in an effort to convince the holders to grant them money. It was it was pitched by Brent V. Fieldman, co-writer of a bunch of low-budget horror flicks. The Crow television adaptation, didn't know that was a thing.
Oh.
I wonder how it compares to the reboot. And as well as Notorious Bomb Mortal Kombat Annihilation in 1997. So needless to say, this one wasn't picked up. A year later in 99, a second screenplay was penned by none other than Stephen E. De Souza. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
The visionary writer, producer, and director of 1994's live-action Street Fighter. That we did a recording on. So, and this perhaps due to the perceived failure of that outing. So this was rejected too.
We could have
They
had a
didn't
Raul
understand.
Julia dad. Oh my god.
No, he passed away before Street Fighter came out.
You're right. I know. Oh, fuck.
For
Yeah.
you, the day I died was the most important day of your life.
Oh, rest in peace.
I meant that for her dad. Oh, never mind. Should have thought maybe a bit more about those words before I said them. It's fine.
Not that IDOS was opposed to the idea, even talking with film company Paramount about distribution once they were happy enough with a screenplay. And they went through many people until being satisfied, leading to numerous production delays. Meanwhile, a hunt was on for who would sit in the director's chair. Their first choice was Stephen Herrick, whose early career was mad strong. He did cult classic Gremlins knockoff Critters, the wonderful Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wow.
Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, another cult favorite. The Mighty Ducks, The Three Musketeers,
Hell yeah.
Mr. Holland's Opus, and the non-animated 101 Dalmatians. So sure, it was a downhill trend on the list, but that and bombastic action wasn't really his forte. But I bet he could have still probably handled it. No, from this, yeah. Let's see. Regardless, he left the project to do the unfinished Mark Wahlberg vehicle, Metal God. So instead, duties were switched over to one of the 6 screenwriters of the script that Paramount finally landed on. Of the group, there was Sarah B. Cooper, Mike Werb, and Michael Collery, all on story credits. Cooper coming from TV. She wrote episodes of Star Trek Next Generation, The X-Files, Chicago Hope, Skinwalkers, Homicide, Life on the Streets, Strong Medicine, and a direct-to-cable movie, Broken Silence, A Moment of Truth. I don't know. She did like House and stuff later, but this was her first theatrical piece. Mike Werb, a bit more notable examples here. We have him to thank for Jim Carrey's The Mask and Face Off, which will come up again soon. He wrote both those. Plus Food of the Gods 2, The Secret of the Ice Cave, The Human Shield, Things That Go Bump, and Darkman 3. Never saw it, but the first one was awesome. Yeah, remember Sam Raimi only did the original.
Yeah.
His progenitor to Spider-Man. But after, this guy did more family-friendly pictures, Curious George and Firehouse Dog. Then there's Michael Collery, a partner to Werb. He also lending himself to many of those same films, including Face Off, along with Death Wish, The Face of Death, and Alfred.
Faces of Death or
No, no.
But
I don't think Faces of Death needs a writer. Well, it had a narrator, but I don't know how much of a writer it really needed. And Alfred Hitchcock's Presents. Today he show runs Professionals. On to the adaptation and screenplay credits. Those were story credits. We have Patrick Massett, a newbie.
What story?
Though in the future,
It took 3 people to do that?
no, it took 6. Yeah, or 3 people to do the story,
God.
6 to do the
Too many
adapting.
cooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
In the future, he'd head the Knight Rider reboot and Friday Night Lights show.
That was popular. I never watched it.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
That's like the most popular thing of
Yeah,
well, I mean,
a lot of it.
X-Files and all that. But yeah.
Clear eyes, full hearts.
Next is
Can't lose.
John Zinman. Same credentials, so he must be buddies with Massett. But our producers, and for which there are 3. So sorry, I guess there were 5 people, right? No, it was 6. 3 producers. Okay. Lauren Gordon.
So many people.
Quite the cachet under his belt. Predator, Die Hard, Point Break, Boogie Nights. Sharing a few of these was Lloyd Levin. Also, the Rocketeer, Event Horizon,
Oh,
and
hell
Mystery
yeah.
Men. All
Fuck
like
yes.
fucking, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so
Now we're in.
them and Colin Wilson, a varied repertoire. Jurassic Park, the live-action Flintstones, Casper, Small Soldiers.
Hell yeah.
It's dope.
All those movies are good.
Yeah, right? These weren't nobodies. Like, so much killer works in here. But lastly, our director, Simon West, the filmmaker behind Con Air.
Nice.
Love
Good
it.
movie.
Yeah. The General's Daughter. Heard it was
Never
bad.
saw it.
Never. I don't even know what that is.
The famous Budweiser Frogs commercial.
Fuck yeah.
Oh my!
Iconic.
Sick.
You remember that?
His-
Ruined conversations.
Yeah.
like
His
a
best
decade.
work.
I didn't know. And Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up music video.
I still think
Still
the
ruined
Budweiser
Yeah.
is
conversations
better.
today.
I'm not even kidding.
Was this movie one giant Rickroll?
Oh my god.
Memes aside, post Lara Croft Tomb Raider, he'd helm When a Stranger Calls, the remake.
Oh.
Your favorite
Unfortunately, I'm
American.
aware. I am
yeah.
familiar with that.
The Mechanic and the Expendables 2.
Mm.
Not
Yeah.
the first one,
No,
just the second.
I think
one.
Stallone directed the first one.
Yeah, he did.
Those films suck.
They're all bad.
Yeah. I ain't going to bother to read the rest, but as a writer, this is his sole credit. He hung up the towel after, in that,
Well,
in that
can't
field
do any
after that.
better.
Yeah. Either way, Paramount liked what they saw, and he was appointed in charge, reverting back from whatever Stephen Herrick had, cooking previously. And he reportedly had turned down shooting Black Hawk Down to assume duties here. So
Black Hawk
Ooh,
Down
that's
is
probably
a better movie.
tough
that's
roll.
probably a mistake. Yeah. So I think Ridley Scott took over for that, right? And so he was like, "No, I'm not going to do Black Hawk Down. I'm going to do Tomb Raider." So.
Wise choice.
Oh yeah. This said, West was optimistic, confident that his translation of the popular video game would be, quote, what Batman was to Warner Brothers. They were already anticipating a chronology of these movies. His first order of business, though, to find a headliner. Early on, the hope was to cast an unknown actress to fill the boots of, well, as he calls it, the James Bond of archaeology.
I
Wait,
would say
hold
that's
on.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that role may already be filled.
I think he wanted to avoid saying Indiana Jones at any point, so he just said the
Indiana Jones of video games.
yeah.
The Jason Bourne of archaeology.
He elaborated on with an interview in Entertainment Weekly, saying, "quote We don't want to ram a Hollywood star into this thing because Lara is visually known. To some, she's the perfect woman, though others would say she's a total male fabrication of what a woman should be."
What's the difference? Am I right?
This was the year 2000.
No,
Don't-
don't,
don't
no,
touch
fist bumps.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, year 2000. Not that this is, defense. But he then makes the comparison to Alien's Sigourney Weaver as well as far as what he was searching for.
No.
I'm bold.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Elsewhere, funding was still to be acquired. This is when a deal was struck with a German tax shelter named Telemunchen Group, or TMG for short. In a Uwe Boll-like fashion, there is a law for taxes in the nation that allows investors to take an instant deduction on every production, or even on ones outside of Germany, as long as the copyright itself is bought by them and returned to the distributor. The details of these are confusing, but basically the property was sold to TMG for $94 million and then sold back for $83.8 million, essentially earning Paramount Pictures a profit of $10.2 million.
They did a capitalism.
I don't know why it's that way, but
Taxes, man. They're complicated.
yeah. So afterwards, the IP was purchased by Lombard Bank, a British investment firm, for the same amount, plus an additional $12 million. Although to qualify for this relief, filming is required to be at least partly set in the United Kingdom, which was fine since Lara lived there. So the casting must include a smattering of English actors, which also
Yeah, I would say they achieved a smattering.
Yeah.
Now, they did have one of them playing an American.
Yes. Then distribution would be shared by separate companies for release in Germany and France, Italy, Spain, and Japan for $65 million, while prestige cable network Showtime paid $6.8 million to air on their premium channel following its theater run. This is before it's even like day one.
Yeah,
of
most
filming.
of these deals are negotiated before that.
Foreign shit with movies and taxes for the arts is weird, man. But in total, $94 million was obtained through these means, and the overall budget was marked at $115 million.
$15 million dollar budget for
Yeah.
this movie.
Mhm.
Think about
in
all this.
2001.
Yeah, 2000 was when it started.
Think about all the early 2000s CG, though. That's a lot of cash.
Was there that much?
I would say 112 million worth.
There was the goo.
No, you gotta.
Oh yeah, the Capri Sun.
There was
There's
the
the
Capri
Capri
Sun.
goo.
What are you talking about? You don't have to pay animators.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, they don't have a union.
Yeah, did you see?
Yeah, you just have to pay Angelina Jolie.
Did you hear about the
this
recent
is
thing
true.
where like Donald Duck was on Hot Ones, but they
What?
as it was like animated, but they didn't credit any of the artists.
Mhm.
So
That's disappointing.
yeah,
I would
It's a
I would
shame.
have hoped, or like
I
I,
don't
would
know-
have expected better of Hot Ones.
well, they didn't set up the deal like Disney did, so I don't think he knew.
but still,
I know it's unfortunate because I like him. Normally, I don't know what
Yeah.
happened, but
I don't want
You
to
like
derail
Donald
this.
Duck?
Was
like
was the voice actor eating the wings? What the
I know
fuck?
Yeah.
it's stupid. I
That-
hate. I
that
didn't even
defeats the
like
purpose
the whole
of Hot
point.
Ones,
Yeah, it
but-
makes it's.
That's like when they put Marge Simpson in Playboy. Remember that?
okay. I'm just gonna ask now.
I
Lara
remember.
Croft has to have been in Playboy, right?
They, I don't know. They had a video game issue. It
That was
mostly
Blood Rain.
it was Blood Rain, and then along with Girls from DOA and The Witcher. But I don't.
Wasn't Spirits Within lady in there too?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
she was. She
She was
wasn't
the
naked.
first.
She was in her underwear.
Cool.
But
Whoa.
I didn't know if they were more protective of it. What's she looking up over there?
I googled it, and there is one. August 1999.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a Playboy bunny named Lara Croft, spelled Laura.
Boy, I bet she was pissed.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the aforementioned cast, because just the announcement of this endeavor was already getting the fans and press in a tizzy on who our particular protagonist would be. Discussions were swirling. The short list alone was growing with each passing day, with some actors expressing interest and offering their talents ahead of even getting the call. The first to do so was Rona Mitra, the official model for Lara in Tomb Raider 2. And it makes sense. Performing in front of a camera was a relatively new venture for her, however. She was beginning to see smaller roles in things such as Monk Dawson, Gerham Baker's Beowulf, and Paul Verhoeven's Hollow Man, his last U.S. film as of 2004.
I'm sorry, I have to.
Oh, he is
insert
rumored
this.
coming back this year, which I hope is true.
This may be a future microtransactions topic.
Oh, boy.
So, they did do Lara Croft in Tomb Raider, but it was just a Playboy model
dressed like her?
like Lara Croft, and Eidos tried to sue them
No shit.
Oh.
See,
for misusing Lara Croft.
yeah, you can't do that. So
Eidos wasn't happy that its brand was associated with the famous Scandalous magazine. It argued that Playboy would have tarnished Lara's squeaky clean image.
Oh yeah,
Squeaky
so squeaky
clean.
clean.
Is it
Yep.
really that squeaky?
Well,
No.
yeah, she's in a lot of showers.
This was also 2 years before this movie, by the
Son of a
way.
bitch. Okay, so Rona Mitra, she didn't get the job, unfortunately, although she trucked on to be in stuff like Ali G, Stuck on You, the number 23 Shooter, as well as taking over for
Classics.
Jasmine Damek in the sequel to Underworld. Otherwise, she did a fair number of television programs, Gideon's Crossing, The Practice, Boston Legal, Nip Tuck, Supergirl, so she was doing all right.
All right.
That and her legacy to games has continued on with providing voice work in World of Warcraft and the still yet unreleased Squadron 42 in Star Citizen. Yeah,
Jesus.
it was probably recorded like 10 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And she seems pretty chill, like recording albums and rescuing horses in her off hours. So the real
Good
life,
for her.
Lara Croft.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Good. I hope she took all that money.
Yeah.
I hope she got paid
Absolutely.
really well from by Robert. What the fuck? RSI or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever they call themselves, the Star Citizen people. Whatever.
Yeah. Also, she's the only person aside from our lead that I'm going to spend that much time on, as the rest of these faces you'll almost instantly recognize. There was right off of the two I Know What You Did Last Summer's teen slashers, Jennifer Love Hewitt,
Mhm.
GoldenEye and the Faculty's Famke Jensen,
Mhm.
except she was likely busy with the X-Men movies as Jean Grey back then. The quote, Queen of Dance, Jennifer Lopez, this during production of The Cell. So, check
A
it
way better movie.
yeah, absolutely, for sure. Austin Powers, Elizabeth Hurley, and from Heat and A Time to Kill, Ashley Judd. Speaking of, we had Sandra Bullock, star of Speed, Demolition Man, and Miss Congeniality that same year in 2000.
That would have been weird.
Yeah,
Miss Congeniality is a way better movie.
Also
all
a
of
way
these
better
movies are
movie.
I
way
can't
better.
see Sandra Bullock as Lara Croft.
Yeah, I don't think I could.
I can't see half these
either.
people as Lara
No.
Croft.
Catherine Zeta-Jones, hot from The Mask of Zorro and The Haunting, but she was mid-filming Traffic. Then Diane Lane, who was working on The Perfect Storm.
What?
Demi Moore
No offense to
From-
Diane Lane, but what?
from St. Elmo's
We're
Fire,
getting worse.
Ghost and A Few Good Men, and also the voice of Esmeralda in Disney's The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Ooh.
Supposedly there were also...
Speaking of formative.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly there was also auditions for Feruza Balk, Kristen Dunst, and Milanovic. Or Novovich, sorry.
Jovovich.
Jovovich. Is it? I thought the J you don't pronounce.
Oh, it
Mila
might be.
Jovovich, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's Jovovich.
Yeah. Bulk was most known from The Craft, The Island of Dr. Moreau, American History X, The Waterboy, and Almost Famous. While Dunst, the Spider-Man movies, of course, and
Bring It On.
Melancholia.
My favorite movie of
Melancholia
all
was
time.
late,
yeah.
Same with
Interview with a Vampire.
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Yeah. Younger, she was in Jumanji, Interview with the Vampire, Small Soldiers. Again,
You
great
still haven't
stuff.
Said Bring It On.
Sorry, bring it
We
on.
already said it.
Such
Even-
a good movie.
Even better is The Fifth Element, where Mila Jovovich was from, or famous for.
Her finest role.
Yes, so yeah, that probably is what she was most famous
Resident
for.
Evil.
But-
Fifth Element, finest role.
Also that, and she was in Chaplin and Dazed and Confused, Zoolander, Resident Evil, as you said.
Wasn't she in Monster Hunter too?
Yes,
Because she's married to
she's
the
married
dude.
to Paul,
Yeah.
not Tom,
Yeah.
not Thomas, W.S. Anderson. Charisma Carpenter from Buffy and Angel was in the running for a bit there.
Can't see that either.
I think there were even more. My point is, they went through a billion options, more than what this process usually is. And they're all beautiful, all decent choices. More or less. I don't know.
I don't know about Diane Lane.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah. But this one I want to stop on for a second. Starship Troopers and Drop Dead Gorgeous' Denise Richards, who many were campaigning for, partially due to her appearance in 007 entry The World Is Not Enough in 1999, where she even wore Lara Croft's signature outfit as a nod. You remember that, Liz? Yeah.
Yes.
And
is that when she was a nuclear physicist?
yeah, indeed, Christmas Jones. Not to sound gross or objectifying, but she had the build for it, only igniting the internet rumors further that she was a shoo-in.
Christmas only comes once a year, I thought.
Yeah,
Remember that?
thank you.
Yeah.
That is a line.
Thank you for reminding me.
It's classic. I love James Bond.
Me too. This only soon came to a halt when daughter of Jon Voight, Angelina Jolie, was chosen the moment the opportunity arose. Producer Larry Gordon stated, quote, "There were a lot of people interested, according to their agents, but there was no question once we saw her name on the list, and she was the perfect person." And he wasn't wrong. The Hackers alumni had just recently achieved widespread acclaim for her role in Girl Interrupted, winning a Golden Globe, SAG Award, and Critics' Choice Award for it too, along with an Oscar nomination. She got that too. Yeah, okay, yeah, she won. That's so good for her. Gone in 60 Seconds, which she just starred in, was also tearing up the box office. Plus, she shared similar sex symbol status as the game character when viewed by general audiences, with several media outlets such as Vogue, People, Vanity Fair, Esquire, FHM, and Empire frequently labeling her as one of the world's most attractive individuals out there. I gussied up the language a tad with those, but
Which I love that we have to do this.
Yeah.
We have to rank.
Yep.
Based on.
do they still? This is
Yes.
hopefully not as.
They still do
yeah.
it.
Really?
They do it for both genders.
Just don't. You don't have to do it for anybody.
I know.
It's like ranking people by their physical. Whatever. I always think of what's the thing in Red Letter when he talks about, and he's the most outdated things, and he says graveyards, the circus, and beauty pageants. he's like, why do any of these exist anymore?
Wait, what's the line from Miss Congeniality? It's not a beauty pageant. It's I forget what it is.
I forget.
No.
I only know one
Cut
line
that.
from that movie, and it's because it's my birthday.
Oh.
So professionally, this can simultaneously be both an asset and a limiting hindrance in the industry. Obviously, she should be respected and taken seriously, a burden she'd often have to bear because the single issue of her getting picked was her public image and perceived persona as a, quote, wild child that tabloids would constantly factor into her reputation. These exaggerated profiles would routinely cover her exploits surrounding the use of illegal drugs, bisexuality, sick,
Ooh,
and fascination with
scandalous.
with sadomasochism, including blood and knives. Were any of it true? First of all, who fucking cares? It's her life, as long as everybody's consenting and no one is getting hurt. And second, none of it was ever truly confirmed anyways. Well, she did wear a vial of her then ex-spouse, Johnny Lee Miller's blood. Hey, it's Zero Cool again. Around her neck for a while. But,
Didn't she
whatever.
also wear a vial of Billy Bob Thornton's blood when they were dating?
Yeah, I don't
know. That could be one of those stories they made up.
Yeah. I ain't gonna kink shame. The paparazzi, they'd mock her for being into incest when she shared a kiss with her brother at the Oscars. I think it was just on the cheek.
Yeah,
up here,
that's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's
European.
it's
fine.
Yeah.
I come
Maybe
from an
the
Italian
tabloids
family,
were
I
just
get it.
having a slow year. They didn't have anybody else to talk about, because I don't even remember her being that controversial.
Yes.
Really?
Other than the bisexuality thing, which I mean, scandal.
Yeah. Who would be?
I'm gonna fan myself.
She was the hot fish in Shark Tale. Remember that?
Yeah, they gave that fish DSL.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah. This is typical overreactionary press bullshit. We ate it up then, still do kind of. Thankfully, this perception did change as her career went on. Even if she could be sort of a nut sometimes, not that this affected Simon West's decision in the slightest. No, it was the fanboys complaining. They whined about her controversial personal life and that her physique didn't properly match their precious busty heroine.
What?
And
Well, the problem is if you're 90 pounds, you're going to have a lot of fat in certain areas.
Wait, they wanted okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Have
Okay.
your cake and eat it too.
So they wanted their Lara Croft to be squeaky clean.
Mm-hmm.
They could TNA.
No, they wanted her to have big titties.
They wanted both.
They wanted
Yeah.
the big titties, but her personal life.
They wanted her to
Yeah.
be a
Had to be
stick
squeaky
Mince
clean.
with
giant boobs and be non-controversial whatsoever.
Yeah, and a
And
virgin.
non-controversial
Yeah.
to men, gamer men in
Yeah.
the early 2000s.
Can you think of a
Mhm.
better group of people?
Having some trouble.
The one factor I do kind of is that she was American. And that I can understand a little. Fake accents are tough and can ruin her performance. Others cited her tattoos as a problem, even though those can be easily covered up with makeup. But
Or you could just have Lara Croft have sick tattoos. What's
Yeah,
wrong with that?
and
seriously.
it was dumb. And not to come across crass here, but the whole boob thing, Angelina Jolie has plenty there. And if that was indeed a hurdle to start with, despite wearing padded underneath or padding underneath her costume, it almost looked like body armor. In the movie, to increase her bra size, she still had to dismiss the naysayers. Later, telling an interviewer in NY Rock that, quote, "Come on, I'm not so flat-chested to begin with. When I wear a tight t-shirt, I look a certain way, so it wasn't like we had to completely change me. We just had to enhance me a little. I'm a 36C. Lara, she's a 36D, and in the game, she's a double D. So we took her down some, but then we did give her a bit of padding there. For me, it was simply one size, so it was like having a padded bra. But no, I am not flat-chested anyway, so we still made it Lara Croft, but we didn't go to any extremes. And Lara doesn't apologize for herself and for having that, recognizable shape. So I'm not going to apologize for her either.
OG Lara Croft is only supposed to be a double D.
I mean, I guess, yeah, probably. They didn't
Makes
really
sense
look.
to me.
They didn't really look right until 2, 3, and 4 because the first game it's like a Madonna triangle. That's we pointed out.
I could go on a rant about bra size. Never. I'm not. I'm not.
You're
Oh, yeah,
free
I
to
won't.
if you want.
No. I won't do that.
So I feel weird that you.
Also, not in the new games. In the new games, her chest sizes.
Well, of course. I feel weird that you would define a bra size for a fictional character.
Are you surprised?
I
A
wonder.
little,
I don't know
actually.
if there's like a character Bible that they gave her or somebody.
What is it? Just 3 numbers and 2 letters?
Because I don't think they think about bra sizes in the polygonal age of like.
Well, I think it's just also like, I don't know. I think there's like a gross misunderstanding. No offense to
Untaken.
the
All
3
taken.
dudes here,
No.
especially by men, as to what bra sizes actually look like on like real women.
I
And
don't
like
know,
cup
but, like,
sizes.
If you can figure it out, like you get like they just give you a math degree.
I don't know. I've done a lot of research into the topic.
Well,
I've done firsthand experience.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a ratio, right? Isn't it?
Mm,
Or one of them, the number is not, but the letter is.
The number is related to the amount of space around
The
your
band
rib
size.
cage,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then the letter is the difference between the amount of projection.
Gotcha. Okay. I have a math degree. I get it.
Go on.
yeah, I mean, my understanding is that the letters are actually equate to inches, right?
But
Or
then,
centimeters, one of the two.
oh god, am I really gonna explain
Anyway,
this?
this
You don't-
isn't particularly germane.
You don't
I
have
could
to-
probably move on.
No, I'm here for it. I want to hear Liz
So if
break
you
this
have
down.
like a 30 double D or you have a 36 double D, a 36 double D means that your rib cage is larger, but it also is larger and like that bra is going to be larger all over. Like it doesn't make any sense at
That's
all.
why I said it's a ratio.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Yes.
The numbers of measurement. My understanding, the numbers of measurement. The letter is a ratio of how many inches the boobs come out from the rib cage.
And the thing is like if you are 90 pounds, and you have big boobs, they're gonna look enormous.
Yes.
Mhm,
But if you're a bigger girl and you have big boobs, they're not gonna look as big,
mhm.
Yes.
right? Because of just size.
Yeah, like a 36 double D is not going to look like Lara Croft in the early games.
No.
Is the thing. That was my initial point. Like, which I know is not germane to the script or the episode, but
I'm glad y'all are here.
You promised a
Also-
45-minute conversation about tits,
I-
and we're here for
Oh, I
it.
didn't know that. Okay, in that case.
All right. Well,
Let's discuss.
continuing on.
It also is like
I said up top.
I guess I don't have to say it, but it's so fucked to have to like she has to reveal her bra size to prove that she's
Yeah.
not that far off,
Mhm.
and also reveal what the size was with the padding added. It's like
But the thing is like, if you're a tiny athlete, like that's the oh, I'm so angry. Men want like this tiny athletic, like hot girl, but if like no one has tits that big when you're that small.
It's unless they're implants. It's literally
It's
impossible.
just physically
I
impossible.
think that's part of the
when your body fat percentage is that low.
yeah.
But that's what men want,
So,
and it doesn't make any
I'm
sense.
not-
Especially in the 90s.
So-
Everyone was like hyper skinny and
Yeah,
like
heroin
giant
chic was
titties.
in.
Made me so mad.
hey, it's back.
Oh, good.
Wait, do you know
Healthy.
about this?
Ozempic chic.
Can I go on a
Oh.
tangent? Another
Yeah.
tangent?
Sure.
You can cut it if you want. But I'm gonna say that I found out that it in times of like when feminism is doing well, they'll bring skinniness back in style to like cut people down a peg.
I've read that too.
Because
yeah.
women
Holy
will
shit,
eat
that's
less
dark.
and
Mhm.
like have less brain power because they're trying to be skinny.
Fucking
Mhm.
Christ, that's
Mm-hmm.
bleak.
Growing up in the 90s was great.
Real quick,
It
you
Didn't
mentioned
scar us at all.
you mentioned the implants thing. I don't mean this in a pejorative sense at all, but it's what was her name? The Denise Richards had implants. So I think a lot of fucking young boys thought that like, oh well, that's why she looks like
I also
she would
blame
make a good
anime.
Tomb Raider. Like
I
it's,
blame anime for a lot of
I'm sure it
like,
didn't help.
skewed opinions or like understanding. I'm doing air quotes.
Also video games.
Also video
Yeah.
games. Yes,
Yeah.
Western video games as well.
In the beginning of the 3D era, yeah.
Yeah.
When you can create the proportions on your own,
I mean, like we've all talked about it off mic before, but I mean, like the Marvel thing is like ridiculous the way they transform those people,
Yes.
like men and women. Like it's like, apologize for that section, but it was ridiculous.
wow.
yeah,
Jesus.
geez, Randy.
Apologize.
No. I
Jesus.
I meant that having to cover this as part of the story. I'm glad that we've said what we said. I wasn't apologizing for that. I was saying that like that we had to go
No,
there.
I agree with you. Let's go back to being a men's podcast.
God damn it. You all took this the
You
wrong
can't
way.
invite me on and not let me talk about feminism.
That's I'm
fun
not
to be
silencing or suppressing anyone here. I told you that was going to be a big theme of this. I wanted those perspectives.
You know
I
what,
appreciate
Liz?
it.
We'll record a whole rant about feminism. I'll just insert it right here.
Wait, no. Take all of my rants and just put them in like 2.5 speed or something like that. So, like, you can, or like, if you would like to ignore this rant, you can go to like this point.
Skip to the time code.
I just play it again.
Yeah.
Director West at one point was considering the use of wide-angle lenses to accentuate her chest before ditching the tactic.
This is getting ridiculous. We're doing some Peter Jackson Hobbit
was
shit
just
to
about to
make
say
boobs
that.
bigger. Did you use forced perspective to make her look like she's a double D?
Yeah, her boobs were in a much smaller chair than it actually looked like.
He did come to her defense at least, and even joked about the knife allegations, saying that, quote, Lara sleeps with knives and doesn't take shit from anybody. That's Angelina Jolie down to a T. So that's cute.
Sure.
Yeah. He also remarked that she was just a young woman experimenting, so there's no harm in that. Like, despite that earlier quote from him, he seems to be like, for the time, a pretty progressive guy that was protective of like the way that she was being like, shown in the papers and whatnot. But so that's enough unnecessary celebrity mud dragging. But let's get through the remainder of the cast now. So the previously brought up Jon Voight, Angelina Jolie's real life father, was to play Lara's in-movie father, Lord Richard Croft. Nice little wink there. For those unfamiliar, Voight has had an extremely successful career run. He received an Academy Award for war drama Coming Home and was also nominated for Midnight Cowboy, Runaway Train, and Ali. Then there were many Golden Globe wins and noms as well. Deliverance, The Champ, Ray Donovan, same with SAG and Critics' Choice stuff. But where we are, he also had starred in Heat, Mission Impossible 1, Anaconda, Enemy of the State, Varsity Blues, and Baby Geniuses, which he also co-produced. That and in between the shoot for this, he was involved in Zoolander and Pearl Harbor. He also took this position without even reading the script first. It is a bit of a bummer to hear where he's at in 2024. Though, he's currently in a spat with his daughter over her publicly condemning the ongoing massacre of Palestinians. So she continues to get it from all angles still. And remember Brangelina and all that. But yeah, all she was doing was denouncing genocide and
controversial.
Yeah, he couldn't even come to her aid with that. Next for the main villain is Ian Glenn, leader of the Illuminati, Manfred Powell. Now most notable for Game of Thrones and the suck-ass Resident Evil films. But he started as an accomplished stage actor and led a wide array of Shakespeare plays. To be honest, I didn't recognize much of his theatrical roles before this, just Gorillas in the Mist. I didn't know Mountains of the Moon or Silent Scream. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Turner Dead, I am aware of. But no clue about 30-Day Key or The Young Americans. Beautiful Creatures is familiar to me.
Not the best group to ask about.
Yeah.
This is certainly a fascinating one, as it was very early for his time as a performer. Later, James Bond and Detective Benoit Blanc, Daniel Craig. I love Daniel Craig, and this was prior to Road to Perdition, Layer Cake, Spielberg's Munich, Golden Compass, Tintin, or the Adventures of Tintin, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and Logan Lucky, a personal favorite of mine. But and like I said, the Knives Out movies. They just announced the name and the castings for the third one, so I'm looking forward to it. This picture was partially responsible for bringing him into the public consciousness. There wasn't much pre-Tomb Raider outside of a breakthrough with our friends in the North and Elizabeth as English priest John Ballard. Interestingly, speaking of the English thing, Cass was assigned the American character of Alex West, a formal, rival or acquaintance of Lara, as we talked about though in early drafts. In the book, he was an ex-partner. Turned treasure hunter or like I said, rival treasure hunter and secondary henchman to Powell. So this means he'd trade accents with Jolie, funny enough. That and his name was a nod to the director, as Alex Mars wasn't able to get cleared from the legal department for the games. I don't know. And also the training robot apparently in the movies referred to as Simon. So maybe that's why he got two references, but maybe that's why they dropped the Street Fighter thing.
I guess, yeah, they might have had to have some legal issues.
Yeah.
The Street. Well, I mean, who knows? Who can even speculate about
Right.
IP law?
Then we have Noah Taylor as Bryce, a Lara's quote tech expert, an actor and musician now known for Peaky Blinders and also Game of Thrones. But back then, he saw success for portraying piano genius David Helfgott in the biopic Shine. After going on to be an Almost Famous and Vanilla Sky the same year. I remember him most from Life Aquatic in 2004. He was one of the crew members there. Moving forward, there was Richard Johnson as Dave said, the distinguished gentleman. He was another stage guy, primarily, though it was featured in many, many films, too much to list. Sadly, he passed away in June of 2015 at the age of 87, his final credit being The Man Who Knew Infinity. Chris Barry making his debut onto the silver screen as Croft's loyal butler. He was a comedian and impressionist, popular on the British sketch show Spitting Image and then later Red Dwarf. And he was the replacement for Martin Clunes, whose wedding anniversary clashed with filming dates. That was the initial person they were gonna. But after him is Julian Ridd Tutt, Mr. Pims. He had smaller appearances in The Saint, Les Mis, and our third Bond connection, Tomorrow Never Dies. Following this, he did Stardust, Rush, Lucy, Bridget Jones' Baby, as well as Ridley Scott's Napoleon. And last but not least, Leslie Phillips accepting the part as Lara's mentor, Wilson. He's the voice of the Sorting Hat in Harry Potter. And a ton of other shit. He died at 98 years old in 2022. So, that's quite a life to be fair. So
In peace.
So that's everybody more or less. I know there's extras and what have you, but you know.
What about the dogs?
Let's get on to the shoot. Yeah, I don't know their
Wait,
names.
what are the dogs' names?
I don't.
No, this is important.
Being irresponsible. So
Oh my God, I forgot. They cut the Mr. Wilson getting fucking decapitated scene from the movie.
Yes, we're gonna get into that. That's a big
I just remembered.
I can't believe that's in the book.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
So
We'll get there apparently.
principal photography began on July 30th of 2000 and ceased that November. A portion of the movie was shot at the prestigious Hatfield House in Hertfordshire, England, as per the rules of that financial deal. Remember, they had to be in the UK. This was Lara's huge-ass manor that she lived in. The residence was built in 1611 by Robert Cecil, the first Earl of Salisbury and Chief Minister to King James. It's massive, 85 rooms.
Oh, great.
So, yeah.
Inventor of the Salisbury steak, little known fact.
Currently, Robert Gascoigne Cecil, the 7th Marquess of Salisbury, writes that. I can't read these fucking English names. God damn.
I love
Incredible.
this.
Her microwave dinner was actually a Salisbury steak.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. It was just supposed to look like that.
Gascoigne.
Okay.
And I only know that because that's the second boss in Bloodborne.
Oh. So they often do tours, and it's been seen in loads of other films. Perhaps most prominently in Tim Burton's Batman as Bruce Wayne's house. It was also in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory remake.
Which one?
I guess the first one. Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Shakespeare in Love, Sherlock Holmes, Get Him to the Greek,
Oh, God.
Jesus.
the worst cast, aged cast.
The most aged
The most
worst aged
canceled
cast,
movie
yeah.
ever. Literally the three main stars. Paddington, All the Money in the World, The Favorite, V for Vendetta, and Mordecai. Oof.
Mhm.
Plus, it got time on television too with Antiques Roadshow and Master Chef Australia. Takes
Whoa.
place.
Wait,
Yeah,
hold on.
It's weird.
that's not where that should happen.
That's where they filmed MasterChef Australia. Is that this residence? Yeah. This, and it was even used again in the reboot series of the Tomb Raider video game. So that actually is her place in the. The majority of the indoor sets, though, were hosted by the 007 stage in Pinewood Studios. Heck yeah. And it's one of the largest indoor facilities of its kind in the world. And you can tell, because these sets were fucking enormous. Tall-ass sculptures, that planet mobile thing. This was no small affair. Massive rigs, loads of wires. Aside from this, the crew would also travel to the 12th century Prom Temple in Angkor Siem Reap province of Cambodia. Making it, I got through it, making it the first production shot there since Lord Jim in 1964 because of the country's occupation under the Khmer Rouge regime that was overthrown by the Vietnamese in 1979, who then maintained the region until the Cold War ended in 1993. Lots of horrible genocide in that story. I really went down a rabbit hole I shouldn't have. But here was the best fit for the movie's identity and mysticism. A marriage of, quote, super modern meets super ancient. As a fun fact, those hundreds of Buddhist monks were actual practicing Buddhist monks. And complete with real chanting. And I'm shocked that isn't like that's allowed. Like that isn't blasphemous to them or something to be in this like hokey Hollywood.
Buddhists are a lot more chill than every other religion.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's my very short takeaway from religious classes in high school or college.
I mean, they weren't like shown disrespectful.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's just I didn't know it'd be weird to be like, oh, sign this NDA. You know, like it's
They
like,
probably
it's
work for free too.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of material possessions.
Yeah.
Great extras.
What's also interesting is that this location wasn't their initial choice. Originally, the director had envisioned for a section of the plot to take place at the Great Wall of China, except due to both scheduling conflicts with there and then later issues with constructing their own replica in Scotland, they opted for Cambodia instead, as it wasn't winter there.
The whole budget was blown on a
Yes, they tried to
fake
build their
Great
own,
Wall.
Yeah, and then they threw it all out.
Notoriously seen from space, and they tried to make a small one.
That's adorable. I want to see what they were able to create.
Yeah.
Like, what of that?
Right.
actually existed.
This change, however, thrilled Angelina. She took the position to have the opportunity to travel and quickly fell in love with the country, leading to her to move there to help fund the cleanup of abandoned minefields. And this was where she adopted her first son, Maddox. It's important to also address her continued humanitarian efforts even today. If I haven't already been clear in her getting an undeserved bad rap over the years, like, I know she's rich and powerful, and there's an egregious amount of people, especially women, who went through far worse in Hollywood, but it's all horrible, and I just wanted to take a sec to admire that.
We're not throwing shade on Angelina.
No, I wanted to admire that compassion. Like, it's And Jolie, by the way, she put the fucking work in for this role. She trained for months to get in shape and in character. She took lessons in kickboxing, yoga, bungee, and even got familiar with guns from an instructor of Great Britain's SAS Elite Special Forces Unit.
Oh.
Also, as
First John Wick.
Yeah, as per request, and it's a shame because I wish I could say her performance was better, but it's
fine.
It's fine.
It's fine for what it is. Even
not
her accent was whatever.
It was
think.
consistent.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
I mean, Liz pointed out at one point when we were taking a break that it's like, at one point Daniel Craig in the movie goes, "Blast!" And I was like,
Yep.
that's like the wrong exclamation as an American.
The last thing in America.
yeah, it should
would
just have
say.
been fuck.
Yeah.
I was gonna say maybe that's a PG-13 thing.
Right.
We'll get.
'Cause
I feel like
American
the
expletives are
MPAA
all-
comes up in every movie story we do, and they're going to come up again here.
Part of the requirement was they had to say blast.
On that deal to get the
Yes,
money.
yes.
Or they don't get tax breaks in the UK.
Yeah.
How many buggers in this movie?
Yeah.
Also, as per request, the tattoos were covered up, and she frustratingly was forced to take regular drug tests during filming to appease an invasive press. Remember, weed was still very much illegal at this point, or like criminalized. It was fucking.
She's an actor.
I know.
Who gives a
Shit.
fuck?
Yeah,
Performance enhancing
Holy
drugs.
shit.
Uh,
That's exhausting.
yeah. And as for how the shooting itself was, conditions were said to be exhausting and tedious. It doesn't sound like people
Just like the movie.
were hey, we're having fun. We're having a fun go making this. Similar to Street Fighter, some of the blame was on these exotic locales: the rain, the extreme heat, the extreme cold, the wildlife. During one scene when Lara's driving her Land Rover through the jungle, they had to do dozens of retakes as snakes kept falling into the open roof of
God,
her
they should
car,
have left that in.
which scared the piss out of Jolie.
They should have left
Yeah,
that
no
in,
shit.
though.
Yeah.
I want to go to a place where snakes fall on me from the sky.
I don't.
Oh, well, Cambodia's got you covered.
I mean, if we do a good enough job at PetSmart, we get that done.
Good enough job at PetSmart. What does that mean?
Breaking all the snakes out.
I'm gonna free the animals. They then trekked over to Iceland for their Siberia sequences. Director West was adamant about not featuring any sand in his film, as that climate was overdone for the genre. And I get it, but as you pointed out, that's where a lot of tombs. But he, it was yeah. They had jungles. Oh, no sand.
Wasn't there
It's
sand?
coarse and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Wasn't there
All the
sand in
crates.
the very opening scene? Like, wasn't there?
Yeah, but that was like a fake sand set.
But-
They didn't go to a desert.
Yeah,
The-
maybe it was the desert that he wanted
Wait.
to avoid.
It's still. Never mind.
Nope. Perfectly logical.
But it was here that they would rent those massive amphibious trucks, train snow dogs, doggies of which that were sensitive to cracks in the rocky ice and would warn the crew not to risk getting too close to any potential fissures.
Good dogs.
So, yeah, them some good boys and girls right there. Simon did collect an above average amount of footage. This to try and stay faithful to the source material by throwing in as many motifs to the video game as he could. Fights, shootouts, encounters with wolves and monkeys, no dinosaurs tragically, but there are robots, and the like statues that fight for some reason. I don't know. The Prometheus Capri Sun goo.
The goo.
Yeah.
Swimming, chases, helicopters. He even went all out on her attire. The holsters, the backpack and reloader belt. Also, her signature mini shorts that Jolie was not the biggest fan of. In return, she was allowed to provide input on her costume and hair, including its monochromatic design and the mohawk-style braids that she rocked.
I
if the
could have
Madonna
thought
bra was
of
that
better
good.
costumes.
Yeah, you seemed very unhappy with.
I was
the,
very unhappy with the fashions in this movie.
Yeah, very unimpressive.
It was
Regardless, they managed to get through it, despite the cast members being occasionally confused of what the screenplay's narrative even was.
Fair enough.
Yeah, me too.
Apart from that, the only setback was when Angelina, this according to an interview she took on Jay Leno, tore ligaments in her ankle after the first attempt to leap on top of a chandelier went wrong. But she recovered from the injury, thankfully, in just a week. It's like being a boxer, she said. It's part of the job. So, yeah, it's tough, yeah. Otherwise, there were a fair number of reshoots, although things didn't truly go sideways till post-production was started. This is when it really, yeah. See, the initial cut of the film clocked in at 130 minutes. This obviously was way, like,
Wow.
yeah, far too long for the action blockbuster in 2000.
it was an hour-long sex scene.
If only they knew where this shit would go, right? And
I was gonna say 130 minutes and nothing.
I
now.
know, yeah. And not just that, but the relationship between West and Paramount Pictures was becoming just unstable. So much so that he was removed from being able to work on the project during the editing process. They did allow him to handle shots for any additional materials, but nothing else. He could film it, and then they were like, "Thanks," and then you're not allowed to see.
What I want to know what happened.
I know, I couldn't. I tried to track this down, but this was when editor Stuart Bard was brought in by the higher ups to basically
Came in with a machete.
the entire project, put together the entire project by himself. And we'll point out the editing is terrible. It is
Awful.
yeah.
Nobody had any idea what the lighting was supposed to be at any given
And
point.
here's the thing, he was no slouch, with his past credentials being everything from The Omen to Superman to Die Hard 2 to Lethal Weapon. He also was Academy Award nominated, and later went on to lend his expertise to Demolition Man, Casino Royale, and Skyfall. Fuck yeah, and Rogue One, and in a bizarre coincidence, the 2018 Tomb Raider. That's got to feel peculiar.
Yeah.
Maybe they just gave him nothing to work with.
That's what I think. Or
Oh,
time
yeah.
was so limiting.
Yeah.
But he had the reputation for being the fixer and assisting with productions that go into trouble or are strapped for time. In exchange for the gig, along with the assignment of trimming down the original 210-minute version of the film, version of Mission Impossible 2, they basically said, here are two movies that went way over, and Paramount, and he was like, if you fix both of these, Paramount would promise him a director's position for the upcoming Star Trek Nemesis. A pretty solid agreement, except they rushed him along at a fast pace to get this shit out the door. In fact, certain special effects weren't even properly completed. Eventually, though, he got the runtime reduced to a clean 100 minutes. This in line more, with the genre back then, more so. But besides that, he also changed the entire score, tossing away what composer Nathan McCree had done after executives insisted on a more famous name. This was a bit of a gut punch, as McCree was an employee at Core Design and did the music for the original games. He definitely didn't take it personally, however, as Paramount went on to fire 4 other musicians, including fucking Danny Elfman, who got so far as to write a theme song before it getting shelved. And hopefully they all got paid.
That would have been. But the issue was that would have made the movie a little interesting. Maybe
would have added some.
Yeah, so they couldn't have that.
Yeah.
I want to find that recording. I need to know what
God,
Danny
I hope it
Elfman's
sounds like
Lara
The Simpsons.
Croft-
Right? Yeah. Another one of these artists was Michael Kamen, who arranged compositions for Pink Floyd's The Wall, The Dead Zone, Brazil, Highlander, Amazing Stories, each the Lethal Weapons, and Die Hards, 007's License to Kill. So many bomb movies on here, I love it. Roadhouse, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Event Horizon again, The Iron Giant, woo, just celebrating an anniversary this year, 25th. X-Men and Band of Brothers. The list goes on.
Ugh.
But for whatever reason, they thought his stuff wasn't good enough, either. Yeah. And it sucked because his submissions was finished. He it was all recorded and everything. This being mentioned in the book by David Hughes, Tales from Development Hell, this means they'd have to start entirely over. So who would step in? At one point, they thought about John Powell. He did the scores for Face Off, Ants, The Road to El Dorado, and Chicken Run. Then he got the axe, but don't worry about him. He had Trek ahead of him, so I'm sure he's doing fine. Then there was Fatboy Slim, which would have been crazy.
Wow.
Jerry Goldsmith was attached. Honestly, a legend. He was the composer of like Star Trek, Rambo, Chinatown, Alien, Poltergeist, Gremlins, Total Recall, Mulan, and The Mummy. Alas, he was unable due to his declining health status. He passed in 2004. This takes us to Graham Revell, who previously composed Child's Play 2, Hard Target, The Crow, Street Fighter, Tank Girl, the Power Rangers movie, From Dusk Till Dawn, Spawn, Idle Hands. It's funny. I remember these films well. I don't recall the scores being really amazing. I don't know. What was amazing though was that after being told he only had 10 days to write an hour of music, he did it. So that is impressive to say the least. So next, Dave, there's a matter of what the overall tone was aiming for. This including the MPAA rating. A PG-13 was obvious as it aligned with the T for teen rating of the games during that initial run, except because now they're much darker, they're more violent, they're in the M territory. But except boundaries here for both the violence and sexuality were being pushed so close that they needed amending. Which is odd because, and I'm curious if any of you noticed this, in spite of our hero constantly brandishing guns and wielding swords, she never actually kills or even wounds anybody for the entire duration of the movie, outside of a single pistol butt to the head of one of the robbers as she flees.
Well, she turns the knife around and that stabs the guy.
Yeah,
but,
okay. Yeah, sorry.
I guess it's
Was
still...
there any blood?
A little on the knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was only...
Sorry, you're right, Kate. She does kill the main antagonist. I'm only like I was more surprised she didn't shoot anybody and so no one there. And I guess other than the main, other than Powell, then I don't think she does.
No.
Her body counts in the games are way higher.
I mean, she fights a lot of the robbers. We don't know if she kills them.
No, she doesn't.
No,
I don't think
doesn't
she
kill
shoots anybody.
No.
Yeah.
She kills.
She uses a screwdriver gun. In the
Yeah,
garage,
that's right.
That guy's
which
dead.
in the book was a gas canister launcher.
She does shoot those statue golem things.
Yeah, they're not people.
No, I know. There's still plenty of death featured on screen, so this was a strangely tame decision. Perhaps it was to make her more likable or relatable. Not that Indiana Jones murdering people ever bothered us. Of course, those were literal Nazis, so who gives a crap about them? That said, there was a scene removed during that raid on the mansion where Wilson is first revealed to be an Illuminati member, but refuses to help Powell hurt Lara, so he sacrifices himself so she can get away. The villain then decapitates him with a sword, leading to him ordering his goon, Mr. Pym, to reluctantly bag the head, an order he shakingly obeys. So that's in the book. This was filmed, and then that was gone from the...
So everything that is correct, except he gets his head cut off before ever betraying her. He gets his head cut off because he can't promise that he won't.
Huh.
It's a weird choice to
that
make.
is, I don't know.
But yeah, that scene sounds like, again, it would have made things a little more interesting. So I guess they really could not have had that.
Yeah. No, you're right. This is just becoming more and more homogenized. The rest of the questionable content, however, was all sexy related. And gosh, some of these examples are so fucking stupid and bad. I'm glad they got nixed.
Oh boy.
So prior versions of the script had some of the dumbest instances of shitty, raunchy early aughts comedy bits.
No.
During one sequence, they had her flashing her breast to enemy soldiers as a distraction.
Right.
In another, she was going to use her boobs to...
Can you imagine if you got to do that in the game?
It's a quick time event.
Yeah. But she used her big boobs to crush a giant millipede.
Why? What? That sounds like some deep, dark, internet.
It sounds like
shit.
it's a scary movie where the
How would that ever be the most useful, the easiest way to do that?
I don't know. Then there was this. There were other extra scenes written of her bathing, skinny dipping beneath the waterfall, losing a bikini top mid battle, and then filming around that degree of horny silliness. The once planned sex scene between her and Craig was likely the most tasteful, to be frank. But these
just give us that.
Yeah, but these were all scrapped. And to the dismay of Jolie, who felt the final product wasn't sexy enough and thought each new revision would dial back the suggestiveness more and more. Needless to say, there was a single remaining... Well, I guess there were two, I guess, but the 2 remaining scenes of heavier sensuality left in, because it was in every fucking commercial, and this was of her in the shower. And not to be confused with the DVD bonus featurette of her showering outside. No, this was the part where she throws the towel off or whatever, I think, at the I don't know. But the view is obscured to avoid that R stamp. And we see, like, I think, brief side boob. I don't know. Jolie,
You do. You see that really early.
Yeah. And
No nipple.
No nipple. No, that's too much. Unless you're Titanic. For PG-13. And Jolie also stated later in a chat with magazine writer Jeanette Walls that while she was willing to go nude for the camera, this shot was with a body double.
What?
Which is, it's funny because Daniel Craig didn't have one, so...
Weird.
Angelina Jolie. And they decided they needed a body double.
Yeah. I don't know if it was like her agency or something, because she was comfortable with it, but...
I have a guess.
Okay.
They had to cover up all the tattoos.
Oh.
I don't
actually,
know.
that's
I don't
that
know
is a
how
good
tatted
guess.
she is.
She's
but
pretty
yeah,
tatted.
It's really
okay.
tatted.
Yeah.
I have a second guess,
Okay.
which is that when you're showering, you can't wear pads.
Oh, that was my
That
other
too.
guess.
Because I was thinking about that when they were like, they added a pad to bring her up to a D cup,
Yeah.
but it's like there is the shot of side boob,
Yeah.
which men that are watching this movie wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
You
But,
know?
but they're like, we need somebody with bigger boobs if we're going to show side boob, I guess. That's my guess.
Yeah, I have no idea, but both of those feel very plausible. But these scenes were filmed and then yanked out. And they weren't meant to be, they were meant to be packaged as bonuses on the home release, except that was changed last minute to only sport 4 less saucier deleted scenes, totaling an additional 7 minutes of B-roll. However, it did come paired with a 20-minute doc, Digging into Tomb Raider. Get it? Where I got a handful of my info from. It's on YouTube in its entirety for those interested. So this shit was now ready. Trailers were cut to build that anticipation. They had a strong campaign with TV and radio spots, brand deals. Fans were excited. The big day was just over the horizon. Now, before we arrive to Lara's splash into theaters, I do want to take a second or maybe a minute, to discuss the companion licensed soundtrack. A fair bit that we did take notice of during our watch. So not the score, although that also was pressed on CD by Elektra the Elektra record label. Sidebar, apparently the tracks on that one were mislabeled, leading to the composer Graham Revell issuing an apology on his website. Don't know how that happens. A producer should have caught it, but it was fixed in later printings. Anyway, the song list. Some notable shit on there. It's super of its time. There were even a few originals by these bands. Elektra, by the way, very known for signing and distributing rock, electronic, alternative, hip-hop, and industrial and this era, which makes sense when you see OG compositions from U2, Fluke, and Nine Inch Nails with the promotional exclusive track Deep that since has never been available through their other releases. And we looked it up, and I think in the movie, is it just the instrumental version? Yep. Okay, it doesn't have the vocals.
We found a karaoke version, remember?
Oh my gosh. Other artists featured are the Chemical Brothers, Moby, Outkast, the aforementioned Fatboy Slim, partnered with Bootsy Collins. I think CeeLo was on a different collab. A remix of Missy Elliott's Get Your Freak On. And my one personal right here, the Where's Your Head At, that I said from the Basement Jacks. So love it. The only song omitted on this collection was by Voss, also a cover of Bach's Concerto No. 5. And In Control by Die Toten Hosen made it into the European version.
Huh.
Yeah. And, this sold well in many territories. But speaking of, we're at launch day. No red carpet event that I could find, but it saw life in the United States first on June 15th, 2001. After it slowly went worldwide, with Japan getting it last in early October. Here's the fucking crazy thing, though. This turkey debuted at the top of the box office that opening weekend. And why is this so insane? Because it beat
sucks?
Shrek.
What?
It beat Shrek by 48.2 million.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's easy to forget that the CG animated classic and forever meme was not a smash right out the gate. It was only through positive reviews and word of mouth that it became a sensation.
Back in 2001, didn't know what they had.
Yeah.
Didn't know what they were being given.
I think like Shrek was more consistent afterwards,
Yeah.
but the fact that this was that big is wild. So Lara Croft Tomb Raider was raking it in. It also ranked over Disney's Atlantis: The Lost Empire, as well as Paramount's second largest premiere back then, just behind Mission Impossible 2 the same year. That's the John Woo one. In addition to that, it was the fourth biggest opening overall, only under Jurassic Park 1, Austin Powers 2, and Batman Forever. This making it even more staggering with how much those franchises are still fondly remembered, and yet this never stuck around to that level. No one references this anymore, rightfully so. That aside, it also broke the profit record for a film with a lead female protagonist, as well as video game adaptation, excluding the Pokemon movie, since that's really more connected to the anime series. And not just this, but when pulling in audience data from the Associated Press, the demographic was incredibly split between men and women viewers. I'm talking 55 and 45%. This was major for an action flick, and pretty cool, honestly, even if the result is this. But by the end of its run, it grossed $131.2 million domestic and more overseas, accumulating a whopping $275 million against its $155 million budget. It was different back then.
I was gonna say, I guess it did the double the what is it? The budget
For like
in order to include marketing costs that didn't count quite as much back then.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
And because when you adjust for inflation, even in 2024, it remains the second most successful translated work from a game, period.
Really?
Number one with real people. So, all right, hang on.
Wow.
Anyone want to guess this
Mario.
top 10? Yes, Mario. The animated Super Mario Brothers that came out last year, the Illumination one is
Most
number one.
profitable
Yes.
video game movie.
Yes. And well, no, I'm going to see if anyone can get if collectively you guys can get the top 10. I promise there's nothing weird.
Number one live action Super Mario Brothers movie.
No. that is not on it, unfortunately. And remember, this is with inflation, animated and non-animated. A couple, are sort of
Number
gray-
two,
Mortal
gray
Kombat.
area.
Alone in the Dark, Uwe Boll.
Okay, so
Doom.
All right, so here we go. So Mario Brothers, the animated movie, is number one. Lara Croft Tomb Raider, number two, and Austin guessed the fifth one, which was Mortal Kombat. And
Where's Street Fighter? Is Street Fighter on there?
Street Fighter is not.
What?
Assassin's Creed.
No, that is not.
Uncharted.
Prince of Persia.
Uncharted is number 8.
Oof.
So yeah, you got that.
What about Prince of Persia?
Prince of Persia is number 11.
Oh, not
Did not
top
make
10.
it into the top 10.
Tomb Raider 2018.
No.
Oh, the Tomb Raider sequel. The 2003
Cradle of
one.
Life.
Cradle of Life.
Cradle of Life actually is 13.
Resident Evil.
Tomb Raider, the remake, is 22.
Resident Evil 1.
Resident Evil, no.
Final Fantasy.
No.
Nope. Doom.
Nope.
I said Doom already.
Oh, you did? Okay.
What about Doom?
Assassin's Creed is 23. Spirits Within is 25.
Shocking.
What are we
Silent
missing?
Hill is
Mortal
20.
Kombat Annihilation?
No, Mortal Kombat Annihilation is number 17.
I don't know, man.
All right, I'll give you.
Pokemon.
Pokemon is number 4.
Digimon.
That does count.
No,
wait, no,
Digimon
shit.
is not. There is a
Oh.
second Pokemon movie.
Pokemon 2000.
Yeah, 2000.
No.
Wait, that's the second one though.
Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu.
Oh.
You got
Oh,
it.
Sonic.
That's number 7. Both Sonics.
Both Sonics.
Ah, there we go.
There's only one more, or two more that you didn't guess, and I'll give you a hint. One is a horror movie, and the other is based off an app.
Wait,
Silent Hill.
werewolves?
Not
Angry
Silent
Birds
Hill.
movie.
Angry Birds movie.
Resident Evil.
Not Resident Evil.
Horror movie.
Yeah.
Doom. Cabin
Werewolves
Fever.
Within.
Is it?
It's not where it was in, but it is recent.
Horror movie video game adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Silent Hill?
Nope.
Is it Welcome to Raccoon City?
Nope. Think
God, I would hope
think
not.
like more for kids.
Horror for kids.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at
Yeah.
Freddy's. You got it.
Oh.
That was
All
number
right.
9.
Horror for kids.
Good job,
yep,
though.
yep, that tracks.
Anywho, Lara Croft was riding happy. It had a long stay in theaters and did mad solid on rentals, DVD revenue, and on television too, earning an extra $38.5 million in home sales. And when it aired on TV in the UK in 2004, had 7 million watchers. Like, this made it the third most viewed event in on broadcasting in that country that year. What?
Cool.
Like,
I think that's an indictment on
We
television in the UK more than anything
maybe.
else.
But we were all alive during then. This did not feel like that big of a
I
deal.
don't remember any kind of hype. I do remember Angelina Jolie being like the girl.
She was like kind of an it
boys
girl
were
'cause of this.
obsessed with her.
This is
when
the
we
first
were
I
kids.
really.
When was it coming out on video? It would
This,
have been a couple months.
yeah, a couple
after?
late 2001, early 2002.
Maybe people were looking for a distraction
Oh.
or something because something might have happened. And,
I can't think of it.
No.
I forgot. Like
Yeah.
what I was
Shut
trying to think of.
So on to the reviews. Critics first, then us. Also, it's time for everyone's favorite game.
Guess the Rotten Tomatoes.
Ding ding.
Yeah.
All right. So for reference, Final Fantasy Spirits Within was a 44, and Street Fighter
Too
was
high.
a completely unearned 11.
35.
Too low. And I'll give you a hint. It's better than Borderlands.
That's
Okay,
not
so
a
it's
hint.
above
Low
3.
bar.
Yeah.
Not a hint. You say 35?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go 42.
All right.
Spirits Within was 44, you said?
Mm-hmm.
It has to be higher. Does it? 45.
46.
Well, I'm afraid to say that you were all too high.
Mm,
God
interesting.
damn it.
Because it is currently residing at a 20%.
No,
Oh,
Fuse
shit.
wins.
Fuse is right.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
said
yeah.
he barked once for every 10%.
Oh my god!
Holy shit,
I missed
The
that.
dog got it.
All right, well, he wins
All right.
this round.
We got to bring him in for all subsequent, guess the Rotten Tomato scores.
Yeah, he's
that
going
we
to be like
do.
that octopus that predicted the World Cup.
Yeah, that's right. So this is with the average being a 4 out of 10, and the consensus reading, quote, Angelina Jolie is perfect for the role, but even she can't save the movie from a senseless plot and action sequences with no emotional impact. Which,
Yeah.
we don't entirely disagree there. Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Yeah. It sat around a 33 on Metacritic, a 5.8 on IMDb, though it did achieve a B grade for audiences in that bullshit cinema score scale.
I never understood that.
Yeah. Generally, people liked Jolie and were tough, on the script and the production values.
Yeah.
IGN was the harshest with a little ridiculous 0.0. I'm guessing Games
Wait,
Media...
IGN actually gave zeros?
Well, I think Games Media back then was overly protective of their hobby, like a lot in the
Back
2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before it belonged to everybody. But
Mm-hmm.
but writer Glenn Oliver roasted the performances and primarily the ending, which he wasn't alone in. Variety's Todd McCarthy said it has the, quote, the distinction of being far less imaginative and quite a bit more stupid than the interactive game it's based on. He went on to say it was flat and unexciting. The Guardian, the Washington Post, the BBC, Rolling Stone, and the New York
Just
Post
like
and Times
Angelina Jolie's chest.
weren't much kinder.
Boom.
Oh, God.
It wasn't all doom and gloom, however. Surprisingly,
I wish we watched Doom.
a positive recommendation came from the legendary Roger Ebert, who awarded it 3 out of 4 stars, claiming, quote, it elevates its goofiness to an art form. Here is a movie so monumentally silly, yet so wondrous to look at, that only a churl could
Wondrous
find
to look
fault.
at. What I wonder what he was looking at
Yeah.
in particular.
Also, what's a churl? Is that like a wet blanket, I assume?
I don't know.
I know the term churlish.
But
What's
that
mean?
that could not
Like-
be further. If this movie
like
was
a churl?
painfully uninteresting and boring.
Yeah, no, that nothing.
Rude or mean-spirited.
Okay. So yeah, later retrospectives are a little less negative, especially when
Why?
compared to its contemporaries in the Uwe Boll ilk. Though I will say, me and Austin, as a palate cleanser, after Borderlands watched Uwe Boll's Far Cry, wasn't that bad.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Better or worse than Tomb Raider, though?
I think it was more fun than Tomb
There's
Raider.
a scene, spoilers,
for Far
where
Cry.
the main character and the caterer are
Yeah.
being held at gunpoint, but the caterer is so fat that he has to eat his sandwich, and then they get shot at because he moves while he's being held at gunpoint because he has a meatball sub and he wants to finish it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, relatable though. I would do the same.
Even IGN changed their tone in 2018 and called it one of the better video game adaptations.
Also wrong.
Yeah, same with British GQ in 2021 and recently The Vulture in 2023, both stating it worked enough and was worth checking out.
It worked enough. Damning with faint praise.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's crazy to go back after the new Tomb Raider movie and say that this worked well enough, because that one's way better. It's not amazing, but it's way better.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's at least coherent.
Back then, though, there was still a meanness surrounding it, possibly due to Angelina Jolie's public persona that we discussed earlier. There were noms from MTV for her for the best performance and best fight scene, each losing. The latter half to Rush Hour and the former to Nicole Kidman in Moulin Rouge, so well-deserved. Thank you, Liz, for introducing me to that. Despite this, and a nod at the Teen Choice Awards, she also got a nomination for Worst Actress at the 22nd Razzie ceremony. It
Why?
was dumb. I hate that organization the
fine.
more and more I further
Like,
research
Yeah, I
it.
hate
Yeah.
Razzies.
Yeah. So luckily that was lost to Mariah Carey in Glitter, the movie that
Good.
infamously was released a week after 9/11. In fact, there's a lot of haunting footage that you can watch of advertise. Like if you see like there's posters for Glitter all over New York City.
Oh
Like,
gosh.
so it's forever cemented in in
Well,
In
that
9/11
movie's
footage?
supposed to be garbage in a
I know,
vacuum.
yeah.
So
But with all that, how'd y'all feel about it?
Who wants to go first?
Wait, I have a challenge for everyone.
Okay.
Name something that you liked about it, and then we can just rip it apart.
I liked
This-
Bryce.
I like the little robots. Yeah.
I like the doggies on the boats and some of the soundtrack.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like.
Yeah.
It was exciting for me to be able to hear a new Nine Inch Nails song I
Yeah.
didn't know existed
That was cool.
because I'm a huge fan.
There's some decent stunt work here and there.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like on a technical level, the movie was fine. Like I liked.
I feel
Yeah,
like I've seen episodes of television.
Yeah,
that were better.
because otherwise it's boring. It feels longer than it is.
I
I was
appreciate-
hoping to be more fun, like that early 2000s action schlock.
I appreciate they actually went and like.
They went to real world locations.
Exactly.
That's
They
good.
did- I'm trying here.
I
I'm
know
trying to be
we're
fun. I'm
grasping at
trying.
straws because what I didn't expect was the sheer ineptitude of the filmmaking itself. It's ugly. Like we all numerous times
The
noticed the
lighting is
lighting,
awful.
especially
The lighting.
yeah. And I don't even talk about the CG or anything, but it's like, and that slapdash editing is like
The editing is the biggest thing.
the overuse of fucking slow-mo,
Slow-mo.
but not even your
Oh,
traditional
yeah.
Zack Snyder slow-mo. It's like they messed with the speed ramping to
It
change
really
the
felt like
frame rate.
they needed to pad the
Well,
runtime or
yeah.
something.
So when you film slow-mo, you have to film slow-mo at a higher
higher
or you have to
FPS,
film
right?
it in normal speed at a higher frame rate so
Yeah.
that when you slow it down to 24 frames per second, it's smooth.
Yeah.
Because the brain perceives anything less than 16 to 18 frames per second as not motion.
Yeah.
So, and 24 is generally agreed upon as like
So
the
that's-
threshold.
And then
for
on
when
top of that, you're adding animation because they were animating those characters.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
like
there was a scene with CG in it where
Yes.
they animated it at the lower frame rate to match the slow mo. It was just weird.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
This was like, I mean, that's so poor direction overall. I'm sorry, Simon, but you remember the transitions? Those are like the fucking cheese ballest things.
Need more star wipes.
Yeah, like the
Smash
characters would
cut.
be talking and then they would just like fade and fade out like it was like they were doing flashbacks.
I
on the
love that
TV.
hokey shit.
It's
I'm not gonna lie.
something. And the characters acted like robots.
Yeah, that's that.
And not to insult the robots, the movie that had more
Because
personality.
there like with the exception of maybe Lara and her dad in the flashbacks and time travel. Like there wasn't any interpersonal drama.
It was completely devoid of like I said humanity, but like humor or heart or sense of adventure. Like
they attempted humor, but they tried. It was just so. It was like an alien tried to write it.
All right. My question is, do you think this movie has the most boring portrayal of the Illuminati ever?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yep.
Well, the Assassin's Creed movie is probably close.
Better.
Right? You think?
There's also the Templars. The
Oh,
Knights
sorry.
Templar are different
Right.
from the
Yeah,
Illuminati.
yeah.
But I'm thinking of like the Dan Brown adaptations, like Angels and Demons and the Da Vinci
I've never
Code.
seen those.
They're
not good,
They're not
but
that
they make the Illuminati more sinister.
That's true. Yeah.
I wish I want a version of this movie that's R-rated, that's scary, that's like a little sexy, a little horny.
Needs some sex.
This should be more in line with the Mummy, like movie, like the old ones. Like that's what they like.
I've been wanting to rewatch the Mummy.
They're great, and this was after that. Like like there was just nothing to latch onto with this.
Yeah,
The Mummy also formative.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Which
I
is the
think
worst sin,
the
right?
worst thing you can say about a movie.
I think it's.
I promise the next pick will be better.
I think it's telling.
We at least
I'm sure
we
in our
survived.
commentary, I
Doing
think
Cradle of Life,
we talk about anything else other than the movie.
which,
Yeah.
by the way,
It fails at being so much. It fails at Indiana Jones. It fails at being Bond. It fails at being like
Cradle of Life,
any of the excitement from the
24%
game.
on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so it's better.
Better.
Mm.
You were
Four
and you were
more
saying
points.
you
Maybe-
were kept
I
saying
know.
it's worse.
No, I
it's
didn't say
worse.
it's worse. I didn't say it's better. I said it depends on who you ask.
Maybe it's just 4 points in the lighting.
You
Well,
mean they didn't put strobe lights in the tombs this time?
Do you think they have
They didn't
Gerard
have
Butler
everyone holding
doing
chem
try to do
lights?
an American accent in that? Or
Is there sand?
No.
It's coarse and gets everywhere.
Hold on. You have a movie called The Cradle of Life and there's not sand?
I was just saying.
Oh.
No, I think
Famous-
it's, I
There
think
might
it's
be sand in the
Pandora's
second one, I don't
box
know.
or
Famously, tombs not built in the sand ever. So
I'm trying to think of anything else before we move on that I did.
something. Yeah, I'm
like.
not. Yeah.
Sure.
It doesn't even look like the games.
And-
The
yeah.
sets look like Legend of the Hidden Temple.
yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do.
Like
You're right. That was great.
I liked
Yeah, this will be good. Finish that sentence.
Daniel Craig's chest.
Well,
Oh,
okay.
okay. All right.
Finish that sentence with one other thing.
You already said the dogs.
Yeah.
You say the
Dave-
dogs again?
Dave, I can
Yeah,
think
the
of two
dogs.
things I liked. You know what I mean?
Get that fist away from me.
Dave won't fist bump me. This episode sucks.
All right, let's just end it there.
So that was our opinions. What about the folks that actually made it? Well, disregarding the annoying paparazzo, Jolie had an adequate, albeit strenuous, time shooting all the somersaults, man. But it was okay, even if she was a tad disappointed with the overall product. Expounding via a chat with the Black Film Mag that trying to make a video game into a person was difficult to figure out. But I mean, she did return for the sequel, along with Quartermaster Chris Berry and Noah Taylor as Bryce. I just wonder if she changed her opinions on video games as a whole. Apparently, she never liked them. Same with West, for that matter. She did keep her gun holsters from the shoot, so she must have had some attachment. But yeah, this is like, you know, you had both a director and a lead
Do you
actress.
think
that
Bryce
didn't
has his
care.
cute little robots in the sequel?
I do, you know,
One
you
way to
gotta
find out.
Think there's a novelization of that one?
Yeah, I'll buy it for you.
Oh.
Christmas this year is gonna be great.
Mm.
So Daniel Craig had a marginally worse
oh
experience.
my god.
Going as far to say during a 2022 interview with Groucho that it was, quote, the worst mistake I've made. If that's the worst mistake, Craig, then you're probably doing all right. He did continue on to specify that it was a good lesson in not taking on projects that don't have finished screenplays, and asserted that this endeavor slowed down his career for a while. Of course, his future was just fine in the end. I do want to read this part, though. It makes me laugh. Quote, The script on it was all over the fucking place, waffling on about 8-foot fucking green monkeys or some such bullocks, and I and I could never get my head around what was supposed to be going on. Angie had it worse. She was in every scene and had to take all the shit afterwards. I'm way into his English potty
I
mouth
know.
there.
I thought he was American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movie
So
line.
convincing.
Yeah.
Didn't crack a single time.
And you could tell he was so checked out.
Oh,
by,
yeah.
like, because he gives a committed performance in everything I've seen him in, and this time he was just like, I'll be on my trailer. Like, it was the most energy.
Wait, he goes off screen 15 minutes before the
At
end of the movie, never comes back.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm
They
done.
probably would. They were like, hey, we got to do a
Ending.
reshoot, and he's like, not a chance.
Deuces.
Yeah. So he regretted it. In line with this was the director, Simon West, even if he did have gracious words to promote about his main star. Quote, I'd like to say she was the only problem I didn't have on the set. Maintaining that she was a real trooper with filming and stunts.
Weird way of phrasing that.
Yeah, I guess you're right. She shook off tarantulas and didn't fuss being around mile-deep cracks in the Icelandic tundras. Jolie had no doubles here and did more of the physical labors than expected or requested. She really hung off those ledges and did those jumps, shot those blanks.
She went full Tom Cruise.
Yeah, this wasn't celebrity casting in the vein of when pop musicians take roles. Producer Gordon Lawrence said, is it Lawrence Gordon? I forget. Said, quote, she had no fear. Some of the time when spent trying to persuade her to put her safety harness on, I had to tell her, no, you can't jump 100 feet across the room because you aren't Lara Croft. When you hit the ground, you won't get up. So, like, I don't know, she thought she had shit to prove. And so, well, that was me thinking that, not him. But West did not come back to do the follow-up. More on that in a minute. When asked about his perspective on the film a decade later, he was content in his decisions, particularly in the casting, and that it was cool to see crowds respond to a female-led action blockbuster. It was successful enough to inspire theme park rides and toys. In 2018, he stated, quote, at the time, the studio was incredibly nervous at what the outcome could have been. I'm surprised it's taken so long for other stories to rise up, because I thought that 2 or 3 years after, there'd be 10 other movies like it. This in terms of influencing executives that a woman could headline a similar AAA venture.
Gonna take more than that.
Yeah. It's amazing how things move so slowly. But finally, the Hunger Games and Wonder Woman have carried on to prove the theory wrong. I did edit that quote a little since it was peppered throughout the interview. You get the idea. Also, as much as I appreciate the sentiment,
Those are two interesting
but here's the
examples
thing.
he picked.
There were many other movies to fit that category that predate those. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Charlie's Angels were both 2000. You had Underworld and Kill Bill shortly after that.
Alien.
He means post the first movie. The Descent was like an all-female
Can I
cast. Aeon
make
Flux,
a note about Tomb Raider?
sure.
Okay, it may be led by a female, but she is the only woman in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You're not kidding.
No, it's a little girl, not a woman. But yeah.
Does it pass
Does-
the Bechdel test?
I don't think so. 'Cause I don't think anyone speaks. It needs another female character.
Yeah. That's what.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually-
two women have to
Actually,
speak.
Yeah.
fails the Bechdel test miserably.
I guess
She
so.
talks to Ghost Girl, and they do not talk about men.
Boom.
Incorrect. She talks about wanting to get her dad back.
Damn it. Failed the Bechdel test.
What is it? And you know, as Kay brought up, there's too many to name that mention a few from before. Like, I mean, right around this time in the 90s, you had Run Lola Run, or like G.I. Jane or Tank Girl. Like, you know, it's like, I understand what he's saying, but like...
Yeah, because a lot of them aren't like your AAA blockbuster.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Run Lola Run and Tank Girl are not blockbusters.
No,
saying
you're right.
Yeah, Run Lola Run, that's German, and
Yeah.
it's...
I just meant in terms of action being involved in.
I think I just like we were saying like, oh, it's talking about blockbusters. Yeah, Run Lola Run is German. Like,
Okay, sorry, I'm tired. What I
I
meant
know.
to say was like Hollywood
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
I understand.
produced blockbusters. I probably should have used my words better.
Also, great Defunctland episode on the ride based on the
Yeah?
sequel
Yeah, I
episode.
wanted to ask
Oh,
about
shit.
that. Where
Yeah.
was the ride?
I gotta check that out.
I forget.
I watch all this
I
stuff.
highly
must-
recommend watching it if you haven't, though. It's great.
I don't think I've seen that episode.
I haven't either.
That is like my favorite.
I love the Funkland.
Let me make sure it's
Hell
the
yeah.
Funkland.
So that's kind of it for 2001's Lara Croft Tomb Raider. The sequel, The Cradle of Life, was soon made and saw release 2 years later in 2003. Maybe we'll cover that too someday. Yeah? No,
I feel like I have to see it.
it was directed.
You're gonna have to find new friends for that one.
It was directed by Twister and Speed's John DeBont, so I gotta know. This was the last thing he did before retirement.
Yes.
It
The
is.
Funkland, The History of Tomb Raider the Ride from February 5th, 2018.
Oh shit. Okay.
Good episode.
So some describe the sequel as being an improvement over this in lieu of not repeating that tier of financial victory. I believe the antagonist in that is played by a Gerard Butler, as you know. So saw okay. By 2011, GK Films did acquire the rights to the IP, effectively going on to give us the 2018 reboot. This very in sync aesthetically and narrative-wise to the new trilogy of games. And me and Austin went to see it. It was pretty middling, like not terrible, not memorable, but certainly over the moon better than this.
It's competent.
It's competent. Yeah. Alicia Vikander and Walton Goggins were good, as predicted.
Walton Goggins is a treasure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I didn't recognize the director, Roar Uthog, which is a great name.
What?
Yeah,
That
that's who did the
sounds
Tomb Raider.
like you pronounced that wrong.
His first name is Roar, and Uthog.
I didn't say you pronounced it wrong. I said it sounds like you pronounced it.
Meanwhile, West is gearing up for his next picture, Old Guy, an action comedy western with Christoph Waltz, Lucy Liu, and Cooper Hoffman from Licorice Pizza. So could be all right. I don't know.
Yeah, the sequel to Old Boy.
Elsewhere, the Tomb Raider franchise is still out there and plenty relevant, excluding that Angel of Darkness game. It's a part of that Embracer family following their purchase of Crystal Dynamics and the IP from Square Enix Europe.
They also purchased all of Eidos Montreal.
Yeah,
all
right.
Square Enix.
So
Montreal.
that retroactively
Yeah.
gives them a lot,
Mhm.
like Hitman and whatnot. It was
Hitman is self-owned.
Oh, it is now.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Sorry, following all this. It was announced in 2022 that a fresh main installment was coming, and that it would be quote unify the timelines. I don't from each of the sagas together. Can't escape the multiverse. I don't know. It's also
Multiverse
Why?
Tomb Raider.
yeah. It's also
That makes no sense.
yeah. It's also being planned to use Unreal 5, same as their co-project Perfect Dark. Please don't suck. I'm optimistic. And it'll be published by Amazon. So who knows? That's the most we've heard on the
right.
details. It is single player.
Amazon owns Tomb Raider now.
What?
Yeah, they bought it.
That would explain the okay.
They bought it from Embracer. They're the ones doing the anime, not
Yes.
Netflix. Okay.
And that'll be kind of our last thing. So her and or what is it? She also got added or she was revealed to be coming as a playable character in Dead by Daylight. Her and Nick Cage. Or maybe that's out already?
It's out.
Okay. I'm not a Dead by Daylight person as much as I love horror and their ability to get some gnarly crossovers, but best of luck to Crystal Dynamics. They need a win after the Avengers game.
Wasn't she also in Siege?
Did they add her to Siege?
I think so.
Oh, is she skin for Ash? That would check out.
Maybe? Oh.
Yeah. As for the medium of passive visual entertainment, we are aware that as of January of this year, confirmed in May, that a live-action streaming series on Prime through MGM is incoming as well. It's to be helmed by Fleabag creator and Indiana Jones: The Dial of Destiny actor Phoebe Waller-Bridge. There's a Bridges?
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Mhm.
As writer and executive producer. She's said to be a lifelong fan of the property and is still and is actively searching for their lead.
And she also wrote Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Oh, yeah?
As well.
It's sweet. I mean, she seems super hype about the gig. Dial of Destiny is like,
Fleabag-
okay, it's all right. But
Fleabag is one of the best shows I've ever seen.
yeah.
And everything else she's done has been,
And last but not least here, the anime. That also just got a trailer. The Legend of Lara Croft, it's called. And it looks decent. She's voiced by Hayley Atwell from the Captain America films, who actually plays her in that Dead by Daylight DLC. So maybe it's like she's the new... But
Yeah.
it takes place in the same continuity of the reboot games. The showrunner is Hasho Kuo at Powerhouse Animation. The guys behind the
Powerhouse.
beloved Clerks cartoon and Netflix's award-winning Castlevania.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Wait, Powerhouse did Clerks?
Yes.
That's
That was
that's
first-
hilarious.
yeah, that was their
Holy
first
shit.
Sorry.
They look so similar.
Barris driving. How could this be?
She was in Fortnite.
Not even
My
kidding.
bad.
Oh,
That
okay.
makes
well.
more
Everybody's
sense.
in Fortnite. And, like,
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time till we're all in there.
We might
Um,
already be.
Yeah. But this anime, it comes out October 10th, so stay tuned. But that's the story. Thank you all for coming along for this journey. Especially you, Liz. Welcome to the crew. Good to be here. Austin, Dave, Kay, for
I wanted to
Yes,
watch Doom.
thank you for welcoming me to the crew.
no, that's
that
not
what
what
you're
I
saying?
meant. I was just saying y'all are the best.
Yeah, welcome.
And Dave, I especially appreciate all the work you did on that recap and reading, getting through that
I
book.
did my best.
I would like to point out for the listening audience that Randy is reading off of a script. That was all not off of a script.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Dave was not reading anything, which is very
He took
impressive.
You're
No,
blowing
no.
up my
off,
spot.
off the dome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will tackle further gaming movies in the future. Hopefully, some more exciting or memorable. Maybe
Can only go up from here.
yeah, maybe take a dip into the horror adaptations, like
Oh, it
like
can go
your
down.
Silent Hills or Alone in the Dark.
with that.
Shouts out to my sources: Variety, Entertainment Weekly, Lulu.com, author David Hudges and his book Tales from Development Hell, NY Rocks, GQ, The Guardian, IGN, MSNBC, Empire Magazine, Mania.com, The Hollywood Reporter, Box Office Mojo, and Box Office Guru, United Press International, The Mansfield Journal, Cinema Blend, Rotten Tomatoes, TheNumbers.com, Vulture, The Film Stage, IMDb, and Wikipedia, of course. Them and the Wayback Machine, as per usual. Whew. Is there anything anyone wanted to add prior to the plugs? Who's interested in watching the sequel or the reboot after all
I'm
this?
gonna
I
have
am.
to.
All right.
I'm gonna check for a book.
Any last? Okay.
You haven't
Yeah,
finished
Dave's,
the first
Dave's
one.
not going to watch the sequel. He's just going to read the
All right,
novelization.
you read the novelization. I'll watch the sequel, and then we'll talk.
Perfect.
Yep.
I mean, I got a better grasp of what happened in that movie because
I know initially that's what we were gonna do, right? You were gonna read the book, we were gonna watch the movie, and then try and fill in the
Yeah, it would have been great. There would have been so many scenes you guys would have had no idea what fucking happened.
Yep. Any last thoughts on titties?
Like him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I am
For or
I'm
against?
pro.
Pro.
I'm pro.
You're
Yeah.
a pro titties podcast.
Big
Good.
fan,
Glad we're
yeah.
all on the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
Did this actual episode at least make up for that trash fire that we watched? I feel bad, and I know this.
Yeah,
all right,
no,
good,
it-
all right. This went long.
I,
too.
I bitched plenty, but it's always fun watching movies with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apologies if we sound a little tired. It's getting late.
It's because
here,
we
but-
are.
And then what music are we ending? Should we close it with that Nine Inch Nails song?
Yeah. Do it. Do it. Do
I
it.
can.
Yeah.
Or I can open with the Nine Inch Nails
That's
song.
true. And on
And
and then
close.
end on where's your head at?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I found it.
Wait, does Cradle of Life really have a book?
Yeah, dude, it's by the same author. too.
Oh, I hope that has pictures too.
Oh, it's
Wait,
good.
are we watching the first one of the new version, or are we watching the second?
No, he's talking about Cradle of Life, the sequel to
Oh,
this.
oh, oh.
Yeah. Gotta
But we're
complete
watching the
my
second
cult
Angelina
match.
Jolie one.
Yeah.
Okay. We're
All
not
right.
watching the second Angelina.
Plugs. Thank you for listening.
So hot in
If
here.
you want to listen to any more or watch movies with us, we have Spirits Within. We have the Mario movie.
Street Fighter.
There's Street Fighter. Promise they're mostly better.
This is
Spirits
the
Within
worst
isn't.
movie we've watched.
Yeah,
Spirits
Spirits
Within.
Within's close.
Spirits Within. I had
Story's
more to
interesting.
say
oh my
about.
God, it
I
really
think.
does exist. Wait, did you just
could-
play Still Order?
Yeah, dude.
You can find all those episodes and more at hotbuttoncast.com. Also, you can listen on all the podcast services, Google, Apple, Spotify, etc., etc. And you can tune in to our social media to see what we're doing for our usual Halloween episodes in October.
Hey.
That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at hotbuttoncast.
God, it feels good to get all this out. This was just like...
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to think about this anymore
Yeah.
until September 9th when my book
Wait,
comes
you're
out.
not finished?
Bug us.